What better way to get back into Street Fighter V than with one of the most exciting regions to watch? It's week 5, day 2 here at Street Fighter League Japan, and things are getting hotly contested as we get closer to that halfway mark. In fact, we have just about 2 weeks until it happens, I believe. So I gotta ask, before we get into it, St. Cola, I know you're still overseas. Well, technically, you're still in PR, right? I think that's how it looks like. Either that or you're in Metro City currently. But I gotta ask you, how are you feeling about this week's battles for Street Fighter League?
I'm excited to get back to business because we have a lot of business to get through as we see the teams come through in the bottom half of things on the scoreboard. I'm really excited to see the variety. We're going to see, like, from Team Itsuka and things like that, but I'm getting ahead of myself because, once again, we are back with that team battle, as you see up on the screen, as we worked our way closer and closer towards Fighter League championships. This is what they're playing for. They're playing for the championship to be able to represent Japan, but not only that, to go up against the US and the EU later on. We've already seen the US start up their stuff, the EU start up their stuff. We're going to see who's got the stuff out here to take on those top teams.
Right, the teams are facing off in 14 weeks of grueling week battles, and again, it's to determine their spots into the playoffs, where only 6 of the 8 teams will be competing for that grand prize. Right, the 8 million yen split amongst the top 3 teams, with 5 million going to first place, 2 million going to second place, and 1 million yen going to third place. On top of that, again, you just mentioned it, the winning team will be sent out to compete against the champions of SFL EU as well as US in a 3-way battle at Capcom Cup. Again, for those that are just pretty much tuning in, first and foremost, we still have the home and away team format. First and foremost, again, we have to talk about that. The teams will be playing in the matches, first and second matches being 10 points in a 1st to 2. The final match is a best of 5, awarding 20 points. If a tiebreaker ever happens, there's an extra match, which is a 1st to 1, awarding them 5 points to break that tiebreaker. With the away side, they'll have to place their player and order first with their respective character, which then allows the home side to plan their strategy around that order, where potential counterpicks can happen, right? We've seen how that's been benefiting some of the home team, but it's also shown a lot of the strength from some of the other teams that have had to be on the away side.
Correct, and the fact that we've seen that, should see a switch later on where the teams will have to play each other again with the switch, means that they have to be prepared for everything. They have to be prepared for being on the home side, the away side of things, and have a game plan, even for the first one that we see recently with Inabashi, being prepared for that matchup if that were to occur. But we're going to have a lot of matchups in store. I know a lot of people have seen a lot of Luke and things like that. We're going to see Oro, Alex, G, possibly today, maybe some more in store. But the away teams are going to be coming up on the deck team, on the deck. Shinobiism Gaming, who is, you look at that team with the pedigree, you would think they'd be higher. Momochi qualified for CPT, but that just shows you how great it is, or how powerful the teams are over in general. I think we're going to get the announcement right now for the away team. Once again, that is going to be Shinobiism Gaming. Momochi, the Shinobiism pride himself, coming through, leading the ninja squad from the Hidden Leaf Village. After that is going to be the Gravemaker himself, Fujimura, optimal as ever with that loop play. And after that is going to be the Vantage, Yamaguchi, with one of the most defensive loops that we have seen, a different sort of style. And after is going to be the Swanky Ninja himself with that super sick Johnny coming through with that G.
Really excited to see it, right? Especially with the way Momochi is going to be handling himself coming back from the Street Fighter 6 closed beta. I mean, he's been dominating everybody in that bad fight. But let's talk about that at a different time. It's the home team now with Hiroshima Team Ikusa, starting things off with the man who calls the returning Storm. Storm Kubo, rocking that Abigail. And of course, you had mentioned this earlier, either Alex or Oro. Either way, it's a glittering personage. Gunfight coming into the mix for Hiroshima Team Ikusa, as well, following up the Crux, the Ikusa star, Inaba, with the Dictator. And the one to kind of call things out, he lets you know what he's all about. He lets you know it's cowards. We'll see you later. It's Crusher with that birdie. That quote always throws me off. When I see it, it's in English, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He's always got a, what is this? Dang, they're throwing up the signs, yo. You can't be throwing up Ikusa in the streets, dude. That's gotta be like that's prefecture specific, man.
Yeah. I know it's great to see that they have their own signs. I wonder if the other teams have any other signs, but we'll see what they're going to come up with. Shinobiism Gaming setting up 2 Lukes and a Cody. To be honest, we've seen that in a previous episode, and it's just a strong team overall. That means that we're not going to see any other Johnny, but man, oh man, there's more Lukes. However, despite the fact that that character has been probably dominant on the tier list, he hasn't been super dominant out here. Not every time you see a Luke on the screen, it's going to be a W. And we've seen the likes of Crusher be able to take a victory over Luke, having a really good game plan. And to be honest, I'd like to see Crusher come up to play today.
Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty nice to see. But I feel like we've talked about players kind of facing off against Luke, right? I feel like that's a sitcom. 2 Lukes and a Cody. That's going to be so tough to go against. But all jokes aside, right? We've seen Crusher's results from week 1. Fell a little bit short to Machabo. And then even further on, we didn't really get to see him shine as much because in week 2, he actually fell short to Dogura. So it's kind of tough. I think these guys right now are in a really tough spot in regards to the way that they're playing statistically. You had mentioned earlier Crusher had brief success, at least against one of the Lukes. That was Nauman. He took it 2-1. I kind of want to see if that's going to be a big signifier towards who's going to come up first to bat for Iguza, right? Crusher has 2 opportunities here to take down at least one of the Lukes, and I guess that might be, that might be the play. But it looks like the camera's focused on gunfight. What say you, Senkola? Who do you think is going to come up first? Oh, never mind. It's already showing. I'm sorry.
Looks like it's going to be gunfight. It's going to be gunfight coming through with the oral pick, and it's a character that we've seen be painful when he gets a V-trigger going, right? When he gets a V-trigger going and flowing, he can take out, it feels like 60% of your life, but he has to get there. And Gunfight hasn't really got there too often. His percentage right now is like 1 to 3 in terms of victories. His oral pairing did not do so well against Mago's Luke in the first match of the season. Then he was able to beat Machabo in that 1-1, but ever since then hasn't able to find success. He lost to Gachika's Rashid, he lost to Gucci's Guile, and he needs to get some more on the board. He's kind of leading the team right here, needs to get more of the points on the board. But him maybe not having that W against Mago, maybe took it back to lab and said, I have to learn how to fight this character. I have to learn how to deal with him. However, Fujimura says the opponent team is using unique characters, but I've been working on tactics, so I will win this. But Gunfight responds, I've been working on this matchup against Luke, so I should do okay. I feel like if you're playing Street Fighter 5, you're probably working on the Luke matchup.
Yeah, no matter what, I think that's the general consensus, right? It's like Street Fighter 5 has been the final season has been the season of Luke, right? To get us ready for Street Fighter 6. And I feel like I shouldn't even say Street Fighter 6 anymore because it's still gone too soon. But I will say, I think it's a very valid point, right? You have to be prepared for Luke. It's just going to be the character you're encountering majority of the time. Talking about the matchup itself, there's no shame in the game when I say that this is a matchup we rarely get to see on one side of the playing field, which is oral, right? I feel like within the Western audiences, or at least within the United States, there's only like maybe 2 to 3 oros that are doing it right now, but there's only one that has been like really showcasing it as much, and that is indeed Brian F., right, from the Midwest. I just think that there isn't too much practice against this character, nor is there enough data. But knowing how Fujimura is, like, he does have training partners up his sleeve. I'm kind of curious to see what the results are from his practicing and his studying against this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked, like, I went to a Higuchi stream right after he had defeated Gunfight, and I asked him, how did you know the matchup? And he said he had to go in the lab and learn things individually. So for these players, they have to spend time and push their time off correctly to be like, okay, I've been prepared for Oro. And that's difficult. There's so many characters to worry about. However, I do feel like, as you said, Fujimura's going to have something up his sleeve. He's going to have some training partners, maybe some other Oro players, and go in the lab himself to prepare. And he is a grind rat, I should say. I want to say lab rat, but I think he's a grind rat too as well. He'll have streams where he's up playing for 5 to 6 hours of Street Fighter 5, playing multiple characters in ranked, in battle lounge. So I think he'll be prepared to have something up his sleeve. And we've seen him have something up his sleeve when it comes to crush counter combos and things like that, showing us new tech on the deck with his character. And I'm going to be honest, making Luke look so interesting that it's hard not to want to pick him up sometimes, to be real.
Yeah, the way, I mean, there's only one way to kind of like think about the way Fujimura approaches characters, and he's like easily one of the most innovative players to do so. So I think with that kind of optimization, the way that he's figured out some of these crush counters, I'm like, he's the only one that could pilot it this way. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I don't ever have to be in this professional space staff to contest against someone like Fujimura. Like, it just feels like it's such a weight lifted off of my shoulders, knowing full well I'll never get bodied that hard on the stream. It feels great. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think, you know, when Gunfight talks about his process of going through the motions of studying a character, he does it really well. You know, he streams some of his processes, and it's, you know, something to believe in. We'll see if it actually comes true, and, you know, team equals up, puts him up first for a reason. Here we go. It's going to be the first best of 3 of the day, already into a big counter hit conversion from Fujimura. Applying that pressure, Oreo stuck in the corner. Not Oreo, not the stack, but Oro now gets a side switch.
Someone's hungry for damage right here as Fujimura is eating up Gunfight. And I'm so worried about these fireballs, because one good jumping could be the win. You're so worried about seeing these fireballs that, like the heavy kick could also get the crush against it. We've seen the back heavy kick too work out against fireballs in multiple matchups from Luke, but here we go. That V trigger is on the deck. He just needs one hit to connect to really get the damage going to phone. There we go. 2-4 out.
I think he could have. I don't know. I don't know if forward medium punch would have been fast enough to connect. Oh, that's huge. Oh, you actually get it, man. That was a big whiff punish against Fujimura. Fujimura had actually committed to a button thinking he was going to punish Gunfight, or at least counterpunch. I don't know what the idea was, but it was. I think it was very, very fortunate for Gunfight. I think Gunfight knows it as well. Getting that full confirm, big whiff punish into the kicks to start things off. Very, very nice.
Saw that previously in the first one where he was able to drop things or pick it up after dropping it. And right now, right at that momentum, is Gunfight with that heavy kick. Would love to get a crush, but hits the DP. Fujimura with the anti-air right there. Oh, nothing off that anti-air. Big jump in. Gets the throw too as well. Damage racking up. Better round start right here from Gunfight.
And also we see the knowledge check there from Fujimura, knowing full well that he's within range to get a fierce rising uppercut past the fireball, and still with another rising uppercut as the anti-air choice. Fujimura is now clearing out the mental stack for the ground game, still has his eyes on the air approach. Seeing full well that, you know, Gunfight has approached multiple times that way. Not going to let him have it for free anymore.
Gotta pay for that. Might be a wrap though. Gunfight about to activate. He's willing to block out some of these fireballs too as well. The normals to build up that V bar, to hit the V trigger and seal it. But then again, Fujimura with a full bar on his side, stacked up and needs to spend to win. V trigger, one, cutting to the fireball zoning. That's why you see Gunfight not sending out the fireballs. He's so careful about that. One good EX fireballs are knocked down into Pressure City.
And this is so tough, right? Fujimura, despite being at the deficit, he has to start swinging now. He's going to find a route to go into trigger, and he does so successfully. He gets the thermal barrack, 8 seconds on the clock. Gunfight actually has his V-trigger. He has to send out the stones now. He's got to do it. He's not going to make it in time. 2 seconds, 1. And he doesn't even get to build the meter off of the throw, unfortunately. Gunfight actually falls short. A time over victory for Fujimura. All tied up, 1 apiece of rounds for game number 1. Big confirm off the low forward. This is going to be huge now.
Love how
force him towards the corner.
Bushmiller gets the wall. V-Trigger in the break. Don't need V-Trigger to win this matchup. And gets the EX right up the crush. Kick cross. And gets a dash up DP. Going in for the Oki. Pressure this character in the corner. But there is bar at the bottom for a bust out DP if need be. He's out of there, but that has recovery. Not a full punish, but I like Fujimura ready and steady to find some damage on the deck. And now he can play this nice and lame and poke away. You have to come to him to get the win, but there could be an activation to seal it. That crushing medium punch, anything, any sort of confirm, will do it all block.
Boy. We're going to see a reset opportunity here as well, probably. No, he's going to go for the full damage. There it is, the reset, rising uppercut. What a call out. Fujimura taking all the risks in the world. To be fair, though, with Gunfight, it's hard to tell what side he was going to land on. Especially towards the corner, it's like, I wasn't sure myself. He kept walking. He was committed to moving to the left corner, cost himself up. But to think that the rising uppercut was coming, that was a tough call. That was actually a very tough call. The shortcuts are real in this game, so it's one of those things you still need to consider. Fujimura making the right decision and taking the appropriate risks. But to think about that, right, that statement alone, to take that risk, the fact that he forced Fujimura to even take that risk in the first place is a pretty good sign for Gunfight.
We compare how Gunfight's been playing to previous games, his previous matches and things like that. He looks a lot more solidified with this character, a lot more confident. We see more of the V-trigger activations. We see more of the fear of the V-trigger activations too as well from the other players, where it felt like it wasn't really there as much. And also the fireball zoning too as well has been countered. We saw with Higuchi. It's not happening so much here. This is looking super close. Gunfight could still take it back like that, but then again, Fujimura being able to play that lame style after he gets that big lead to get that win, I like that adjustment from him to add that onto his repertoire of his game plan.
We're going to see if the game plan shifts or if Fujimura is still going to stick with kind of playing a little bit passive. He hasn't been throwing as many fireballs, which is kind of expected, right? We see Sandblaster as the primary tool for poke within mid-range or even a little bit outside that where Uriel can reach. Now Fujimura is swinging towards the corner for throw. Now applies the pressure with the roundhouse, plus frames as well. Still applying pressure, even more so. Gunfight is already at near 50% stuck in this corner. Whoa, he gets out with a jump short!
Oh. And the side switch. Oh. This knockdown won't get the V-trigger. Fujimura has to worry about this, but doesn't even care. He's right there. Gets the counter hit and the Oki and the dash up throw. Fujimura turns up like volume and on set point. Just the addition now of aggression on the game plan, not letting anything land, not even afraid of the V-trigger. Confident.
I love that. Now changing it up with the button selection. Fujimura finds the space down below. Low medium kick is the way to go. Checks Oro's movement has been, you know, it's always going to be effective to check the movement with low medium kick. But Gunfight showing off a little bit of his own confirms, but still not enough to deter Fujimura from counter poking within this distance. It's been so effective. Standing medium kick yet again. We talked about the counter poke ranges. He's been so effective at keeping Gunfight out.
Zoning time, Booker on the screen. Just allowing him to build up to that V-bar. Activation is on the deck. Could get it if you get that hit. But then again, once again, Fujimura, look at that confidence right there. The jab, the delayed jab. Because he knows if I get this hit, you're gonna quit. That's it. The CA, two seal it. Fujimura defeats Gunfight.
That's all it took, right? That's all it took. Standing medium kick, confirm. Right into V-trigger, into critical art. Sometimes that's all you need. One hit is all it takes. I keep thinking of that song, but I will say, you know, it wasn't like a full-fledged like Fujimura win. I feel like, you know, in the beginning of game 2, round 1, it started to feel that way for Fujimura, but there was a little bit of fight in Gunfight, right? I think there was just a little bit more on the side of Fujimura in regards to the counter pokes. I think there wasn't enough from the side of Gunfight's Oro that was shown off to kind of like maybe threaten that space enough. Like I haven't seen like the roundhouses as much. I haven't seen like forward medium punches or even like charged up fierces to kind of show that handoff. But either way, that's going to be 2-0 for Fujimura.
Yeah, I really like Fujimura's game plan too. Even though he had won the previous round, or previous match, he went immediately like that and got really aggressive with it, not letting anything happen with the game plan. Made Gunfight feel uncomfortable. You didn't really see the zoning play at all. You really didn't see the fireballs come through in clutch at all. You do see a lot of anti-airs from the side of Gunfight. He was locking it down in the air, but on the ground, it was pound for pound. Fujimura taking him down with the better buttons, medium punch, crouching medium punch, crouch medium kicks, all hitting and hit confirming and things like that. The things about Luke is that he gets so much off of his hit confirm, so much damage, but you have to find those hits, and I feel like we've seen other Luke players drop those and not be so optimal, but Fujimura making the most out of every decision, every counter, every meaty situation, and that's why you see a character, especially like with Oro that doesn't have a lot of health, not being able to survive. So that's 10 points on the board for Fujimura, for the side of Shinobiism Gaming. Let's see who they sent up as a rebuttal. I'd like to see again, I'd like to see Crusher, because I do believe that Crusher has such a fantastic game plan against Luke. We saw that with Nauman. I'd like to see him come back up with something new with it.
I think I might have heard Crusher's name. Yeah, Crusher might be the one. I like how the camera panned over to Inaba first, and they're like, oh wait, he said Crusher. So this makes sense, right? When we talk about the players that have had success against Luke thus far, I think Crusher is definitely that dude. Is Yamaguchi okay? All right, cool. He had to unmute. I saw a little bit of the red light, and he had to change it. Everything's green. Everything's okay. Looking forward to seeing this play. But yeah, no, I think Crusher coming up to play with Birdie is going to be the right choice. I feel like, you know, if you were anybody, any of these teams in Street Fighter League, you have to prepare for the Luke matchup, right? There's been so many players that have shifted over towards this character. That it's like, well, I mean, as strong as they are, as strong as the player is, and as strong as the character is, you still have to find like a counter strategy to keep it close.
I also think in reverse, like, have you brushed up on your Birdie knowledge? Have you brushed up on these characters that maybe aren't so consistent because they've been nerfed or people have dropped them and set them to the side? Yamaguchi says, though, he is quite confident that he would like to win this. So he thinks that he can do it. He can, you know, compete against the Birdie, against one of the last remaining Birdie players. But Crusher, I just like his play style. He's so good about calling out your attack, staying at that distance where it's really optimal for Birdie, and still presenting a wall of buttons that it's hard to whiff punish, despite the fact that they are whiff punishable. It's hard to actually whiff punish because you're getting checked with the lights, and he sets you up with the fierce, gets the crush counter, sticks a little bit of the charge fierce to get the knockdown, and then goes in with a command strike throw kind of pressure. So I think that that's something that you have to really brush up on your knowledge. Like, okay, let's go back to season 2 and 3 and things like that when Birdie was a lot stronger, and you'll get that knowledge. Crusher, though, says it's been a while since he played against Yamaguchi. He'd like to do his best.
I wonder in what capacity they've played off against each other prior. I'll probably look that up on the side, but in regards to like how they've played off in like previous seasons of Street Fighter League, probably, but I'd have to double check that. But from what it stands, you know, I think Yamaguchi is doing a fantastic job so far with, you know, 50% with Luke, still not bad. We see 33% from the side of Crusher. We still have so many more games to play, right? Again, it's only been like, what, 5 weeks now? 5 weeks, and then this is day 2. We still have like 2 more weeks until the halfway point. So there's a lot of time, right? A lot of time to get yourself acclimated to what's been going on the screen.
Yamaguchi, in terms of his results, he lost to Dogra, you know, first of 2, won against Shudo, the Uriel first of 2 right there, but then won against Mago, which I feel like was somewhat of Mago's problems. You know, not and was taking first and things like that, not sort of the same pressure, but Yamaguchi's defensive style just not opening up at all. But then lost to Akira's Kami, that aggressive sort of play. So if I'm Crusher, I'm looking at that match and how aggressive Akira was and taking notes from that, because it seems like the more aggressive that somebody is, the better it is, or the worse it is, I should say, for Yamaguchi. The more aggressive someone can get and make him feel uncomfortable, he feels uncomfortable. Defensive style type of players like Shoot, though, you know, he kind of, you know, is able to deal with that. He's like, I know how to do this game plan. I rumble in the same sort of jungle. I'm okay with this. But the people that are aggressive like Akira kind of put him up his pace. So I'd like to see Crusher get aggressive. I'd like to see Crusher get real dangerous with the buttons and things like that. Maybe spend the economy of the buttons a little bit better, and get a little bit more. What's the best way to say it? Get a lot more liberal with the buttons than you usually would be, because I feel like that might break down the wall, Yamaguchi.
Yeah, I think that is a valid point. I just think he has to be well within range to do so, right? I think throwing out some of the lighter buttons to kind of tempt maybe the counter poke game from Yamaguchi is a good thing, and then being able to whiff punish accordingly. But I think players at this capacity and this level, like I've watched Yamaguchi stream as well, I think there's a lot to be said in regards to his counter poke game and his levels of offense and activity. I think you know, if it comes down to offense, I think Yamaguchi might be able to take it. I think it's up to Crusher to, again, you said this earlier, be a little bit more active in regards to the economy of buttons that Birdie has, just so long as he's not whiffing them, right? I think Birdie has been susceptible to a lot of the big shift in the meta in regards to like how heavier normals are now a lot easier to whiff punish. So I think he has to rely a lot on some of the lighter pokes, maybe like sending medium punch is going to be a big one, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays off. I think offense is going to be the factor here. We'll see who can counter who in this matchup.
All right, let's get it, Crusher. Yamaguchi. Let's see if he's got more of the anti-loop tech on the deck. Trying to walk him down. I like that slide applied. And that's going to be a better trade anyway if you get hit with the fireball. You'll be doing more damage and walking him down to the corner. Ooh, that was a whiff, though. No medium punch to hit at that right range.
Ooh, that's not a good choice. You already know that was just walking forward, him trying to get a quarter circle forward. Again, might have had a little overlap. But luckily for Yamaguchi, didn't face too big of a punish. So does get himself into trigger. Not going to be losing anytime soon unless he gets hit.
Yes, pushing in the corner. There's that Fierce. Murray, again, having some of the best pressure in the business when it comes to the corner game. That's why we see Yamaguchi trying to fight it out. Big jump in. Crouching medium punch ain't going to save you this season. Back throw. The bar at the bottom, you know what's about to happen. If he gets that hit, he'll definitely do it. The CA to seal up, but Crusher does have bar at the bottom for the activation. Could go for the EX activation at any point. Especially cut through these fireballs. That's without the bar.
Activation. Off of the bullhead. Oh, yeah, finds the mark. Yamaguchi is going to be sitting just fine with this life lead. You already know the chip after the tackle. He's been so smart with it. I got to say, Yamaguchi doing an excellent job managing that meter and also managing the risk against Crusher here in the neutral. We see a lot of big counter pokes and also pretty good aggression coming from both the fireball game and the jumps towards the middle of that round. Very smart. Again, we see now Crusher getting his counter poke game going with the standing medium punches. And now trying to measure it out with crouching medium kick and standing medium kick against Yamaguchi.
It's pushing in the corner. Let's see how Yamaguchi's able to fire the corner. I feel like that's a big strong point of him in the previous round, making sure that he gets out of the corner expeditiously. But Crusher wants to get busy and keep pushing him in the corner. That Fierce, once again, trying to try these fireballs preemptively. Would love to get a counter hit, but poking away with that medium. Oh, never mind. Crusher hits his own medium. The bubble yum, tons of fun. He'll build up that B trigger bar closer and closer. May not even need it, to be honest. Poke game too hot and heavy right here from Crusher.
That was so effective from Crusher. Again, once he maintained the life lead, it's like as soon as he walks away, he still becomes like an impenetrable fortress, right? He's flying away, right? He's got lights that that occupies so much of the character's hitbox forward, right? It's just like there's just so much to deal with. It's like, how do you even try to counterpoke that outside of using maybe like a fireball?
It's looking a little difficult for Yamaguchi trying to answer back. Never mind, just like that, using the medium. That may be the favorite button right here of both characters, both players actually. Yamaguchi, we've seen that leading Crusher out of the corner, but the EX connects, gets the knockdown, locks him down with the bubble yum. Once again, light punch counter hit, nothing after it, but does have him locked in the corner. And again, the sequence of buttons, so hard for Yamaguchi to deal with. He's got to find a way out. A whip punish, anything, any sort of knockdown. The target coming to get the Oki and find his way out of his corner. He does have activation.
Oh. And then we have the trigger on deck for Yamaguchi, right? Any sort of solid confirming is going to lead to thermobaric, but how do you bring Crusher back to at least even life, right? Do you want to use that trigger to kind of equalize it? Then what? Okay, we're going to see that answer anyway. There is 28 seconds left on the clock. That was such a good shimmy attempt from Yama. He at least got Crusher to stand up. But then, here we go. Now the damage. Watch out for the command grab. Or just even regular grab. Yamaguchi's out of there. Good call out. 13 seconds on the clock, and it's going to be huge. Crusher overcommits to the bullhorn. Oh, and he tried to grab Yamaguchi again with the bait. 2 back dashes to avoid critical throws against Crusher. That's been so smart from Yamaguchi. Good anticipation.
That good active defense right there. Not only using that back dash to get outside that situation, but also using that lunging forward light punch to get that perfect space up in this place. Yamaguchi's defense has been fantastic in terms of also leading himself outside the corner. But as you pointed out previously in the beginning of this match, that aggression, when he needs to have it. We've seen the jump ins getting the win. We've seen him be able to press out the medium punch at the right time. And Crusher has been putting up a wall of buttons to find that right angle, that right space, to hit that button, to find, a way outside the corner where you could be whiff punished for 40% or 30% of your life, or you could be, hit with an EX at any point, has been fantastic. The timing from Yamaguchi is ridiculous, and Crusher saying, yo, I got to do something different. I have to do a different game plan. I do like his V-skill usage. I do like him building up the bar, keeping it meaty with that. I wonder though what will be his next game plan is, because he cannot keep Yamaguchi in the corner. It just seems like it's impossible because Yamaguchi's challenging with the target combos to get the Oki to get outside the corner and things like that, or the jump ins. You have to find a different sort of an answer. I'm not sure what it might be.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, right? I don't think we've seen a lot of command grabs exercise. We haven't seen any of like the dolphin dives exercise. But to be fair, I think, you know, it's I don't think it's that much warranted in regards to like actually utilizing it, because Yamaguchi has shown off his ability to kind of read throws and backdash to safety literally 2 times over against Crusher. So that could be a very big gamble for Crusher. But we'll see. I think landing one of those might add to the mental stack against Yamaguchi. We'll see like what happens if that factor ever comes into play. And here we go. Game number 2 between the 2 Titans here. Crusher versus Yamaguchi. And Yamaguchi still playing the counterpoint game, standing medium kick against Birdie's normals, still not being able to reach. That's so crazy to say, still not being able to reach out against Luke, right? That medium kick is such a good tool.
Absolutely. We got to be careful utilizing that. That medium punch could come through from Crusher, and that Fierce 2 as well. If the Border system take the wheel a little bit, Yamaguchi still leading. Crusher bleeding just a little bit. Yamaguchi sitting on V-trigger. Patient play, setting up shop, and making less of the buttons come through from Crusher. You see Crusher non-committal with it. We saw a lot more Fierces before, a lot more of the mediums, but now Crusher with a lot more of the light punches, and Crusher with kicks and light kicks. Do anything expensive.
Yeah, not too bad. Crusher again is trying to maintain this corner pressure, but we talked about this earlier. Oh, that was actually really unfortunate from Yamaguchi trying to get a back throw, but instead Crusher teched intending for the throw to come there, but ends up getting a back throw himself, which is pretty nice if you're Crusher. Triple Barrack a couple of times. Punished. Triple Barrack again to follow up. 9 seconds on the clock.
Yamaguchi leading right now.
Yamaguchi.
A little bit longer. EX. Oh, punish. In too far out for the grip. Wouldn't be able to do it either way. Yamaguchi with a defensive style, that hit and run, annoying to get it done on set point, and now off to a strong start. No confirm with the crouch mini kick though. As soon as I say that, we'll get this one off the counter hit and in it with the DP. Attack though, Crusher cannot be up in the corner. Birdie definitely suffers in the corner. All of his defensive options getting blown up by throws. Doesn't have a 3-frame to his name. The medium once again getting the knockdown. Bad situation for Crusher. Finds an activation though.
And it's so tough. Yamaguchi already has in mind like a couple of buffers to contest against some of the medium kicks or medium buttons that Crusher has presented. Yamaguchi finds the opening again. This is going to be more than enough damage out. Low forward. EX flash knuckle into the EX rising uppercut. More than enough damage for the young man. 2 games straight. This is looking like a big W thus far for Shinobiism Gaming, but it does set up for a very interesting position, right? We could get potentially the tie game, but you know, we need to see all the points we can imagine, like for Shinobiism Gaming. Like we've seen the results from previous matches thus far. Shinobiism Gaming was sitting nice and pretty, I think, at 80 points. So having a 40-point ball game would be super significant, I think, in maintaining the lead.
And also keeping Itsuka down at the bottom at the 8th position. 55 points to their name too as well. It's also the fact of the matter is that you're taking points away from people too as well. You know, you're taking these points away from them, not letting them get any wins at all, making sure that they're at the bottom. You're denying them from coming through the leaderboards, making this even more of a brutal sort of set. But there's still a chance for them to come back. It depends on who they send up for that last match. I would imagine Inaba, to be honest, but we'll get that in a second. Back to Yamaguchi. That defense that he has, his defensive choices, not only just doing things like, oh, I have a backdash to read the command grabs and the normal grabs and things like that, but just knowing I'll use a light jab that reaches forward at this perfect space. And I'm not going to have to walk back too much like that. Just shows how good his defense is as a Luke player and how it sets him apart from other Luke players. And you see right here, not a lot of jump-ins. Only one jump in from Yamaguchi came through, but that was enough to kind of put you know, like, I can do this if I want to, and there's no anti from Birdie because Birdie has to get committal with it. He has to use crouch fears. Crouch medium punch doesn't work as well. I like that Yamaguchi put that option on there. And just a lot of options just in general with the medium punch too as well. We saw a lot of the medium punch come through to click these buttons preemptively, get the Oki going, and putting pressure in the corner where Birdie cannot really work. Birdie wants to put you in the corner. Heavy kick, medium punch, and things like that to jail you up with no bail. But it was the opposite sort of situation. Now we're going to see who's going up against Momochi's Cody. I expect Inaba because he has a decent record against Cody players. We saw him deal with John Takeuchi's Cody, did fantastic with that, but obviously Momochi is a different sort of beast.
And we are getting words, a couple of words from the captain, Storm Kubo. Inaba is going to be the choice. Yeah, he just said it right now. And it makes sense. I don't like having any of the grapplers go up against Cody. There's just so much control that Cody could have. So I think Inaba is going to be the optimal choice no matter how you spin it. So he's going to be going up with Dictator. And I'm actually kind of curious to see what Momochi has to say about this matchup. He's already had this in mind, I'd imagine. Yeah, now he's talking about the quote unquote Vega Cody matchup, right? We're talking about Dictator. Yeah, I'd imagine like he's saying something along the lines of, you know, he's already prepared for this matchup. He's already seen it coming. So he's gonna do his best. I'd imagine, right? Like that's gonna be like the traditional. Like I'm gonna do my best. Yeah. It's gonna be just fine. But as it stands right now, I mean, no other player in the game, I feel like we should doubt when it comes to actually getting the prep work done, because Momochi is that dude. He's shown off exactly how the prep work goes. He's literally streamed it, right? Him and the likes of Nemo's been streaming their runs too. Sakonoko, Daigo, they've all streamed some of their prep in regards to like their matchups too. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play. More so for Inaba than Momochi, because I don't really get to see Inaba on any streaming platforms, really. I don't actually know where he streams at, but I'm curious to see what he has in mind for the Cody matchup.
Inaba, he's been doing great this season. 3-2 right now. Beat Moke's Rashid with his Vice in the anchor match. Was defeated by Pugera's Balrog in the anchor match. Defeated the defensive Shudo in the first of two. That was the Uriel pick. And then Don Takeuchi's Cody. But then lost the first of one against Itabashi's Keith. You know, I think when he's got a lot of prep time, he's like a prep time Batman. When he's got a lot of prep time, can stay fine. And we've seen him utilize tech with this character. Utilize these minute things to stay solid with Bison. Because when it comes to offense, Bison is a character it's easy to layer on offense. To find a game plan with offense with Bison is really simple. When it comes to defense, though, staying away from problematic points, especially when we saw in the Gachikun, I'm sorry, the Moke match, those defensive habits, those tactics, that takes a lot of work, but Inaba has showcased that. So I'm definitely excited to see how he operates against someone like Momochi, who we've seen his practice, as you said, time and time again over his streams and things like that. Momochi himself says, the first two have went so well. If we win straight, we'd like to keep that and get 40 points. And you mentioned how important that is. Inaba said, though, the match with Cody, he played against John and won, so he should do fine today. But you got to be careful, Inaba. Momochi is the reigning champ when it comes to Cody, qualified for CPT. And the styles are so different from Momochi and John Takeuchi. Momochi, I feel like, is always so optimal, never drops a combo. And not saying that other players do consistently, but Momochi just seems like he's so prepared, so ready. It's rare to not see a heavy Zonk combo come from him, and that takes a lot of difficulty, a lot of finger maneuverment.
Are you all right over there? I was gonna say, like, what? But no, I mean, like, there's a lot of dexterity.
Movement,
sure,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you, man. There's a lot of dexterity when it comes to like understanding which combos need to come through to find maximum efficiency in regards to like damage output. You know, putting someone to the corner. One of the biggest, or one of the most intimidating challenges of playing as Cody is understanding which route to take in regards to your hit, right? There's a lot of different combo routes that he could go for. There's a lot of character-specific stuff as well. And that's kind of intimidating for a lot of folks. But again, you had mentioned it. I think Momochi is definitely one of those cats to fully understand which route needs to be taken to maximize the opportunity. Not even just the damage, but what leads to like certain Oki positions, or at least like where they would end up in the screen. So I think, you know, both John Takeuchi and Momochi piloted it very well, but you talked about two blatant play styles. I think Momochi is more of a kind of put you in uncomfortable spots so he can get his counter poke going. And I think John is, better offensively. This is outside of V-Trigger. When it comes to V-Trigger activation, I think they're the same beast.
Yeah. Let's lead up to that, though. It's definitely Momochi that I feel like does a really good job of also getting V-bar too as well. I feel like he does a really good job of sprinkling in the V skills when need be to get that V-bar right at that right range to activate a little bit more earlier than most other Codys. However, on the reverse of things, like even on paper, I feel like that Bison does really well. We've talked about this millions of times. On defense, Cody's lacking. He doesn't have a 3-frame. He's got the sand in the eyes, but you deny that with just a nice little meaty situation. And he doesn't really have a DP. He has a sway, but you can kind of bait that out. So someone like Inaba's going to be ready for that. And I think that pressure sequences that Bison has, especially if you keep it tight, is going to be hard for Cody to fight back with. And he's going to have to spin that V-bar instead of for V-Trigger, for V-Reversal, where he can't make that comeback with the forbidden neutral of the knife or rob them with the V-Trigger situation. Let's see if Momochi has a game plan over Inaba's time to shine.
Really curious to see what the defensive choices are going to be like from both ends, right? We've talked about Bison not having like the best defense. Also, he does have a 3-framer though. We're not going to take that away from him, but I will say it's going to be interesting to see how he faces off against something like a Zonk Knuckle. I just want to know what the choices are going to be like, because not having any sort of ES reversal is going to be a problem. So we'll see how it plays out. Two characters with not the best defense, but we'll see if V-Shift ever comes into play. Already a lot of aggression, a lot of chip damage coming in from the side of Inaba. A big confirm now, and he gets the tail end of that. That was actually pretty cool. Gets the tail end of the scissor kick.
Especially in the corner, there's that V-Reversal expenditure that you have to do. Oh, but a whip punish though. Against down for Fierce. EX, he's back in. And again, the scissor kicks. I like that angle that Momochi jumps at. Even though he didn't get the hit, he's in that weird range where Crouch Fierce is not going to reach. V-Reversal, keep up in the corner. EX back like that, the defensive and now offensive sequence from Inaba.
Oh, and that was actually such a smart decision there from Momochi. Checking out the dash on the way from Inaba. Now the raw activation with the knife. It's going to be a lot of damage. The great equalizer, right? It's going to be a lot of chip, a lot of gray life at the same time. Onto the other side. That crouching heavy punch actually still reaches against the head stop. The follow-up, that was actually super slick.
Was able to finish it. EX and the jab just at the right distance to do ya. The first one to Momochi, staying solid, but man, what an anti with that crouch heavy punch. Did not expect that to reach. And interrupts the down forward Fierce with his own forward heavy kick and the jump in to get the win, the typical stuff with a button, easy jump in. There it is again, the Zonk situation. We talk about the optimality right here. Oh, you thought it was a throw? No go.
Oh, what a backdash from Inaba, but it's still not going to be enough. Chasing him down. Man, Momochi is definitely feeling it right now. That was a clean match against Inaba. I actually had Inaba shaking, no, not shaking his head, but tilting his head over, scratching his chin. He's like, well, damn, I got. Like, that was actually pretty fast.
And I like the fact that Momochi is like so confident in his game plan. Close range fireballs, and I mean very, very close range fireballs to kind of start things off. We saw in the first round, and these jump ins at this weird range where Bison has to commit to a crouch fierce or be prepared to air like right there with the hell attack to take him down. It's not happening in Inaba. Just thinking about too many things. He's got EX Zonk at any point. He can jump in at any point. So many things that you have to worry about. And then the whip punishes. And what he gets off the whip punishes. If you do a down forward fierce at a distance and he's got EX bar, that's okay. That's corner carry. That's 40% of your life. Clearly dumps out so much damage. And someone like Momochi will take advantage of every situation that he can to get those hits. And he gets the first one. And Inaba taking a second and be like, man, I don't know what the heck happened. That's the face of a man that is like, okay, all right, you want to play? Well, it's time to play.
I was going to say, man, with his backdrop, it looks like he's about to be sent to the pearly gates, especially with the way that matchup ended. But to be fair, though, the first round, he was actually putting Momochi on the back foot, right? We've seen a couple of confirms. We've seen him already push to the corner. I don't know what exactly it was that brought him to his knees at the end of that game. You know what I mean? There was just such a big difference in regards to like how he was playing. So we see a shift now. Oh, that was a big, or was a critical error to start the game off, or at least game number 2 off. Momochi now having the lead.
Inaba does have that V-bar stocked up. Yeah, sends it out. Same day delivery with the fireball. He interrupts the down four fierce. Knew at that distance, he's not going to be able to hit. Knew it was fake. The throw right after, not where you want to be. We're talking about that defense. And just even at that distance, threatening with the X-Hawk. Here's the activation though. Inaba trying to make it come back. B shifting the brakes says you better wait. EX, are we out of there? I like that bar to get out of the corner.
Oh, yeah, we like that V reversal, right? If you already have the life lead, you're willing to spend it out a little bit, or at least spend one of those V gauges. Yes, we do have to confirm now.
What a challenge. More hit will do it.
Ooh, yeah.
The challenge on the dash once again. Saw the purple stuff, got the win. And that's how you typically deal with Bison. If he's gonna dash and you see that purple stuff, immediately hit the jab.
Yeah, I think a couple of times over, he's already checked. Man, that's what I was waiting for. The V-skill usage against the Psycho Axe. And it just makes it such a tough option to even try to contest against. Like, even throwing out Psycho Axe now is not a safe thing to do in neutral. Like, not only do you have to fear the counter poke, but now you have to fear the sway, and then plus range after this final fight combo. Watch out. Watch out now. He's shanking your legs.
He's got a knife. The challenge, though, EX hard knockdown. Ride this momentum. Back throw. And he's got V-bar at the bottom looking for an activation point. EX dash in. Careful of the command grab, the grip to do it. Blast at a distance. EX. Down four fierce to knock him down to the ground. One more hit will be the round. Oh, he didn't commit to the light. He's got Cycle Crusher on the deck too as well. Oh, puts off in the corner.
And that's enough. That's actually just enough for Momochi. As soon as Inaba put himself in the corner, that was when things went lopsided. I gotta say, Inaba had done such a great job of keeping Momochi under pressure. As soon as he let go, Momochi was like, all right, even if I have a little bit of life left, this is gonna be just fine. That was unfortunate, yo. He's going right back into it.
Ooh. Know about that one. So dominant after some source like the decisions right here that have come from Inaba. I could take a little bit of a second, but here's the counter hit off the mediums, right back to where we saw things previously. And now it's looking a little bit more free. Oh, the shimmy didn't commit to the light kick into Ruffian, but the medium kick will get the stun done. Go for this post-stun fun. Not enough to kill. One more hit will after this.
And that's so tough. Yeah, in that position, you are in the fate of the gods, really. Low medium kick, especially at that timing, it's so meaty. It's like, what else are you supposed to do about that? You just have to pray. It's literally guess for game.
But for the coin, tap point right here from Momochi. Tag, blast immediately. But look at this defense here from Momochi. Blocking things out. You know, willing to not overextend to get the win. Just outside that distance also, waiting for a down four fierce to come through, but here's a scissor kick.
And I love the neutral jump check. And yeah, and again, utilizing that V reversal against something like an EX scissor kick to force himself out of harm's way. Doesn't want to be locked down in the corner. EX zonk double coming through, the forward throw, reclaiming a lot of that space, by the way. And I love that sway again.
What a call out against the V skill, wasting that bar. Activation off the medium. It goes for the low. Cycle Crusher. Down four fierce. Trying to get that distance. But Momochi does have V-bar at the bottom. You would have V-trigger, that could have been a punish with the knife, but you gotta find a way to activate. What happened this round? Is he going down?
And it's so tough too. This activation route is going to be leading to a lot of damage. Inaba needs to prevent that from happening. So, and I get him being risk averse right now. He is playing the life lead game just about 20 seconds under clock. Not like this, St. Cola. Not like this, yo.
Bruh, the raw stuff, uncooked but full of seasoning. As the time is winding down, the trade. Boom with the back though. He's got the reach to leash when it comes to your health. From downtown, the grip saves him and stays off that set point. Oh, that was so clutch.
That was actually so scary too. That was actually extremely scary. And still, you know, there's one thing to be said about like the way that Momochi's been playing right now. He's been such an aggressor against Inaba, and you're gonna see almost close to lights out. Spends the EX. Off the Ruffian. Another Ruffian again. Throw's gonna do it. Again, he had to guess for the gods! He made his offering with standing light kick. He made his piece.
This will do. Oh, back throw. Hold on now. Is the sun shining on him to get the win? Inaba dash in, but the back throw immediately. Momochi taking it over Inaba 3-0, not letting any dashes come for free. I see his victory. Man.
I think that is our very first. Yeah, that's our first 100% win rate. And it's not our first like sweep ever, but it is indeed like our only match that we've seen thus far into the league where nobody's lost a single game. And it comes via Shinobiism Gaming, who are currently in 3rd place with a big 40 ball. That is extremely impressive. It's one thing to go undefeated in that regard, but it's also another, being in the away position, being susceptible to the counter pick. That is even more impressive. It's like, you know, we have no limitations here. Like, you could put us on any side of the fence, either home or away team, and we're going to be just fine against this team. And we've seen it. Shinobiism Gaming putting their mark in, I think, against the rest of the roster here. This is phenomenal, yo. Like, I can't even believe it. I can't wait to hear what like Yamato and Aru say in regards to like their post-game analysis or post-match analysis. Like, Fugu Tabate, if you're reading this, I'm looking forward to that excerpt because you're doing a fantastic job. But yeah, 40 points, undefeated. Yo, that's unprecedented.
That's wild. That is not only great for them, but also painful for Team Itsuka, as unfortunately walking away with nothing, sending them or continuously sending them back down to the 8th place spot. Not where you want to be, but man, oh man, back to how Momochi was playing that matchup. So confident, even throw out fireballs in a matchup where Bison would just absorb him and throw him back like that. I've not seen Cody players do that in so long, but he's willing to do so to eliminate the V-skill off the table. You know, all I have to worry about is that V-skill fireball, and I'll let you lure you into a false sense of security and then hit my V-skill sway right through and get some damage. It's just that next level of how to deal with this character, how to deal with the player too as well as the jump ins. We saw the jump ins at a weird range where Bison can't answer, taking advantage of the fact that he has to get predictive with it, where Inaba wasn't looking for those, and Inaba feeling uncomfortable in a lot of situations where even he's put in the corner and just holding a lot of this pressure. I did like at the end of Inaba do a little bit of that Abari light kick, you know, after the crouch community kick and striking back, but it wasn't enough. Just Momochi just so structured in his game plan, and it's just too much for Inaba to deal with. 3-0.
It's actually kind of wild.
3-0.
It's always impressive to watch him play, and I know like no other players can emulate the way that he performs. Like there hasn't been anybody who to kind of replicate the kind of playstyle that Momochi has. Like, he's been so dominant in regards to like the reaction game and counter poke game, and then even so, it's like if the other person is so shook, he's like, all right, now I get to play my offense. Like, we've seen the tweets where Tokido has gotten like a couple of confirms and he goes, this is my way. Like, Momochi has that same kind of attitude. He's like, I have my own style of play as well. And we see it right here. This is very unique. Like, if you compare his Cody in regards to like the other Codys out there in Japan, you could find that distinct difference pretty easily. And I gotta say, it's very enjoyable to watch. But we'll see right now, again, with the winning team interview finally coming in. Momochi started things off. He said big, huge 40 points. The last game I played Anchor, I couldn't win it, but my teammates trusted me and let me play Anchor again. So I'm glad to have this win. Fujimura also followed up saying he's been playing Street Fighter nonstop. So I'm glad to have showcased my W today. And that's, yeah, I think all of us have not stopped playing Street Fighter since the weekend. What did Yamaguchi have to say for his post-game interview?
Also, Akira last time, the Birdie matchup, he has been practicing a lot, so he's glad that has paid off, and I'm glad to see that he's practiced a matchup that you don't get to typically see. Like, again, Birdie, not a character that people have been playing a lot of, so he went out of his way to practice this character. And that's one of those things where you don't even know if they're going to pick Birdie on you, and he was well prepared for that, so great to see that from Yamaguchi. And I like that all these players are just in general practicing, be prepared for anything that may come their way. Again, I just have to keep going back to Momochi, how strong he is as a competitor, how strong he is as a player, his game plan overall, and how, you know, only losing to Fudo previously in these anchor matches, being so clutch. He is the clutch god for this team, the breadwinner, and continuing on 40 points for their team is massive.
And it's so tough to call, too. When you look at the composition of Team Hiroshima, Team Ikusa, you have like an Abigail, you have potentially Alex/Oro, you have Birdie as well, and then Bison. Out of all of those characters, you see Bison the most in the current meta. So having to like practice against some of the unorthodox characters or some of the uncommon characters that you see now is really a pretty big deal too. So I'm very impressed with the amount of practice that's been going on for Shinobis in gaming, as well as their I guess game sense with how the matchup should be played and how they should be playing their offense against those characters that we rarely get to see. Again, Oro, not a lot of players using that character. Birdie, only like a handful of players in the world using that character now. So, and then Bison, we see some of the best in the world players play Bison right now. So very, very good to see. Shinobiism fully prepped for their matches, and it shows, right? Again, 100% win rate. Not even just 100% in the win rate. We also have the anti-air department, Momochi, 2 for 2. And then down below with the throw and tech game, 44%. That's understandable. Bison having one of the longest, actually the longest back throw range, I should say, specifically. So it's hard to contest against that. Inaba, on the other hand, 1 out of 7. We see some of the big problems that Bison had to go through this season. Not very successful in anti-airs. The throw as well, kind of tough to call, man. There's a lot of scenarios where Cody can leave with plus in mind, but it's always tough to call.
I like that we do see the answers right there on the side of Mochi. He had that crouch fierce. That's a range where it's really hard. Like once the knife is equipped, the anti-airs get a little more difficult, right? You can jump on Cody a little bit more, but he was at that perfect range to get the crouch fierce. Shows the mastery of the character that Momochi has. Inaba has to work on those anti-airs. You gotta get predictive with it. Maybe stand outside a distance where you think Cody might jump in. But again, you're worried about the ground game, the EX song, and the confidence that Momochi has. That was confidence for the entire team. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of confidence lacking on the side of Johnny. He said that he wasn't so confident last night. You know, he was talking to the team whether him or Yamaguchi was going to play. But that's the great thing about having a team effort is that y'all can come together and say, all right, if you're not feeling confident, I can step in. Now step in to the first match. Vicious, what did we see with the Oro versus Luke right here?
I think there's a little bit of a mishap with Fujimura, kind of misplacing a couple of normals. He did get whiff punished severely by a gunfight going into the critical art, but that just led to sheer destruction afterwards. Fujimura cleaning it up immediately after a couple of mistakes in game 1. We see the activation from the Tengu Stone, but it's still not going to be enough as gunfight chases him down. Doesn't even get to build the meter towards the end. Really unfortunate. But we talked about the counterpoke game afterwards. What led to this very moment was going to be, Fujimura pretty much outpoking gunfight, but this is always impressive, right? The intuition. The gamer's intuition to EX uppercut at that moment is too powerful.
Had to get scratched and the walk-up throw, and you see that aggression immediately right after, turned up and just decided I'm going to get aggressive with it. I'm going to jab, delay jab to take my turn back and then allow that momentum to swing back in my hands and let this mini kick into super to seal it. Great stuff for Fujimura. Definitely see him getting more solidified with that Luke play. And same with Yamaguchi. We saw Yamaguchi being able to walk himself out of the corner continuously against somebody that's really good about pushing him in the corner. And look at this chip sequence. Just well timed right there by Yamaguchi, and really good usage of the bar at the bottom too as well for the EX and the super to lead to that situation. Crusher had some great moments. There were some great moments where Crusher kind of jabbed back with the lights and things like that. But overall, just working his way out of the corner, Yamaguchi continuously with the buttons, and that medium punch is the name of the game, the Oki. And man, that shimmy with that jab, just that nice little lunge forward, perfect play right here from Yamaguchi.
Nice.
Punish and the timeout right there.
I gotta say,
I think a lot of us say that,
like
don't we? Like, not Luke player.
I sound so bitter. I mean, I play Cammy and Karen, so I mean, like, I sound so, and I play Jury too, so I sound so bitter. I have no reason to, but this was, man, that was actually so impressive to see that counterplay from Momochi, being able to get a crouching heavy punch. That knife's hitbox goes way beyond Cody's head. It's like mad far behind him. Towards the end of it though, like on startup, it's still like within the front range of his head, but towards the tail end of the activator, it hits from behind. So that was really solid from Momochi. But what's even more impressive than that is just his offense, dude. He is a monster. He keeps you guessing, and he makes you guess wrong more often than not. And then the counterpoke game as well. He's the complete package, right? Evo champion and Street Fighter 4. This guy he's a problem. He's truly a problem and one of the biggest innovators we have. Like, so grateful to even see the way that this Cody's performed over time. And again, we see 2 games down. We saw that big opener with the EX ruffian kick. What's so crazy about it is Momochi's so solid, right? Momochi is absolutely so solid, but he's also willing to take the big risks. Like, EX ruffian kick from that far, I think would have been punishable.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. That would have been it too. That would have been the round. But being able to round it back and have those those moments where you don't expect it, the bust outs of aggression is enough to take it over Inaba, and they have to come up with a game plan. Because again, Momochi, super strong player. If you didn't see a Street Fighter League, you definitely saw it. Him winning a CPT spot when they had their official CPT just shows you how strong he is. And I mean, all these teams are strong. As you see right here, good Ace Squad, one of the top teams out here. In second place of last year, was one of the most dominant teams, if not the most dominant team. Actually, I should say last year, looking to compete like that this year. But it's hard though. These teams are getting a little bit more solidified. Things are looking a little bit different. The meta's looking a little bit different too as well. But that still means we have great action. Speaking of great action, what happened this weekend, Vicious?
Yo, we had the Street Fighter 6 closed beta test. I was actually cracking out on that thing. This has been some of the most eye-opening experiences for the entire FGC because we had all walks of life breaking down this game, and with no barriers too. We've seen worldwide competitors or worldwide competition and like combos and matchups. It's been so exciting to see. But we're gonna see a little bit more Street Fighter 5 now after this break. Again, it's gonna be Camouflage Detonation going up against Gyogun. You guys do not want to miss it. I was super excited to watch everything that had gone on this weekend, from Street Fighter 6 all the way over to First Attack as well. It's been super exciting, and we get back into the swing of CPT as well. What do we have coming up in the World Warrior program for October? We have it, what, on the 22nd for Japan, right?
Yeah, looks like y'all need to tune in for that, because this is the most stacked World Warrior tournament that you're going to see, because it's hard to tell who's going to even come through in the clutch. John Takeuchi taking the first one, Shudo the second one. Who knows who's going to be in the top 16, top 8 spot, because it seems like it shifts every single time. So to stay fine, they're going to have to be working for these points. We're getting in the middle of things right there for the World Warrior stuff, and also closer and closer to the middle of Street Fighter League Japan. Out here, we've seen some of the best action. Yo, 5 is still alive. There's still great action. The character diversity and things like that. We've seen the rosters out here has been ridiculous. Who could have even called that Kawano was going to bring out the Lucia at all? Vicious, I was so surprised when we saw that, but I hope we get to see more surprises out here at the league.
We definitely will. It's going to be through ways of Camouflage Detonation going up against Team Gyogun. You guys do not want to miss it, because all the surprises could be happening in that matchup. Will we see another full-on sweep, or we're going to see a lot closer for matchup?
安全にな。お、新入りかな。うん、いい顔に撮れてるじゃないか。改めて担当教官のルークだ。よろしくな。手加減は期待しないでくれ。
Right back into the matches. Let's see who's stepping up to plate from the away side. It's going to be Team Gyogun facing off against Camouflage Detonation before we get into that roster. Again, this is the DNG house. As you can see, Camouflage Detonation does claim the stadium for this week of play. And again, we're going to see if that actually helps them out. We're going to see the roster coming in for Team Gyogun. First and foremost, it is Mago coming in hot. as the captain, the 2D god himself, rocking that Karen as well. But we've seen a little bit of Luke, actually, more often than not. Followed behind him is the Mr. Optimal Machabo, rocking Nakali, Cammy, and Luke as well. And speaking of Luke, it's the Moonlight Suzaku, Mizuha, who's been doing a lot of streaming lately, so I'm really excited to see how he's progressed. And of course, the hero of Sunrise, none other than Moke in that machine. Really excited to see this team and how they've been performing. Again, they may be lacking a little bit on the leaderboard, currently in 6th place with 65, but this is their time to at least break through with 100 points. There's potential there.
However, this is Comprised detonation on the deck. It's going to be the meal ticket himself, always checking it in. Itabashi Zangief as the captain. Right behind is going to be the side of the brave himself, Nauman, Evo Japan champion with that Luke and sometimes Laura. Then we see the trickster at play. Big Johnny Tack just like that with the Cody. And maybe Rashid, we'll see. But we have not seen the ace return himself, Uriel, who has not been able to play a single game. But today, may be the day for him to shine for his team with that rose pick to do it. Today could be the day and we finally see him play and not be just a fan on the stands. I'd love to see it because honestly, I want to see how these teams deal with Rose if they know the power of that character.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see it. Actually, I want to know who's going to be coming up to bat for the away roster, right? It's going to be Mago, Mago, Moke, and Machabo, the triple M's, huh? I like that. Let me see, it's gonna be Luke and Falk from Moke. And then Nakali is anchor with Machabo? What is happening? This is actually going to be a very tough composition to counter, if you're asking me. This is nuts.
I don't know how you counter that. I'm at a loss for words because when it comes to Falk, the characters on the other side, I don't know what you would do against Falk. And then Nakali is such a wily kind of character. Like, again, a character that you have to be prepared for, that you don't get much practice against. And then obviously the Luke, but that team composition, that's difficult to deal with. That is a kind of a real fire composition to have to deal with. Yo, good luck. Even if you do have the most broken characters in the game, it doesn't matter. Like, that composition overall is going to be hard to adjust for. I don't know what you do. John Takeuchi coming up, or the first match that they're leading with J-Tac, the winner of the first Warrior event. That was obviously one of the most stacked, if not stacked, Warrior events that we've seen in terms of Japan totality. Having him on the deck first, we'll have to see. Mago says it's a surprise to everyone they're seeing right now. It surprised us.
Yeah, that's gonna be like their game plan, right? To kind of throw everybody off with their character selection. But at the same time, what is not expected is the amount of skill that these guys have and possess in regards to like piloting their characters. It's no surprise that these guys have practice on their streams openly to show off their not only their credibility but their skills as players. I think Luke in the hands of Mago was going to be excellent to watch. I think Falk in the hands of Moke, we've seen it a couple of times over of him getting some close calls as well. Machabo. And Machabo's story with Nakali has been, like, it's the confidence that he's been looking for in the league, right? He opened things off from last year, playing and teetering with Cammy and Nakali. He's fully committed to Nakali now, and I think he's better off from it, which is wild to say because Nakali, again, rarely exercised by a lot of these characters, or a lot of these players, I should say. But Machabo has just done a fantastic job thus far, I think. So looking at his stats, I kind of want to highlight him for the most part. You know, he's had some of his matches in the first set of of week battles. He had his W and he fell short in the sudden death battle, but he actually did his job, right? He actually got his points for the team. So I'm not too surprised to see him as anchor. He's been, on the bench for quite some time. Really excited to see him play. But let's talk about the matchup at hand. John Takeuchi, Cody versus Mago and Luke. Not an uncommon matchup.
Not very much. We saw that actually as one of the Warrior events where John Takeuchi was able to take it over Otani. However, I think that after he won that, there's been a target on his back because if we look at his stats, he's only had 1 to 3 in terms of victories. He beat Tokido's Uriel in the anchor match with this Cody to start off well, but then unfortunately lost to Fudo Poison in a CPT World Warrior run back in the anchor match, then lost to Dogra Bison in an anchor, and then lost to Inaba in a 1st to 2. So he's been in a little bit, if not a lot of bit, of a something. I think that is in turn because of the fact that it's like, dang, this cat is really good with Cody. I feel like we talk about the Cody players, obviously Momochi sits at the top, sits at the summit, but right below and not too far behind is John Takeuchi. We've seen him kind of alternate between V-triggers and things like that to find new answers, but I feel like people are like prepared. They're watching his CFN, how he plays and things like that, because of the fact that he won the World Warrior event. Like, okay, you're the person I have to beat, not only in Street Fighter League Japan, but in these World Warrior events. So I have to be able to take on you, especially when it comes down to the finale later on. So I think that kind of has played against him, where, you know, it's the competitor that we have to watch out for. But however, John Takeuchi, he's a champ. He knows how to bring new game plans to the screen, things like that. We've seen how he works against Luke players. We've seen him be confidently walking up in that fireball distance and do the V skills. I don't want to say just on reaction. There's some prediction with that too as well, but being very prepared. And there's a little banter between the two. It looks like John had said, or Mago had said, this surprised me, but I won't win this. And then John Takeuchi said, Mago, what are you even saying? I like to win this straight. And Mago had said it during his speech beforehand. John was making fun of him. And they're showing the stats once again. I want to see how Mago does, because I feel like he's also been on a little bit of a slump too as well, losing some mirror matches, not having the hit confirms that he did against Yamaguchi. I think as the leader, you need to be at the lead. You need to be the one putting the most amount of points, I feel like, and really leading your team with a charge, morale.
I mean, like, I think his stats overall are just fine because he's still positive, right? He started things off very strong with that Luke against Gunfight. In week number 2, he actually played off in the anchor match, as well as the sudden death match against Bonchan 2 times over. We were talking about his success in the mirror match. I think he does a fine job. He did fall short again against Yamaguchi in last round, but still, like, his record thus far, it's still a positive win record. He did fall short again with Cammy as well the following week after that, but other than that, in week number 5, like, he still has a very good record going to this. So we'll see how this plays off against someone like John Takeuchi. Here we go, game number 1.
Takeuchi harassed with that meter kick, one of his favorite buttons, and a good button overall from Cody. Really good for approach and stuffs the fireballs before they can come out. But Mago has the fireballs and meter kick as well from his side. Ooh, gets clipped though.
I'm liking the back and forth thus far. And I like the introduction to normals. It's been majority of it medium kick, and now implementing the standing medium punch. John Takeuchi gets a big opener, tick throw, finds success. Can try to do it again, no sir. Crouching heavy punch, tornado. Does get jumped over by Mago, but still the recovery is not too long. John gets to block it out, and now he gets to walk it out as well, back to mid-screen.
Takeuchi harassing that meter kick once again. It's from the tail of tapes, but there's the low. Confirmed from Mago. Bring the jump in, the block for John Takeuchi, and challenges into the EX. Has a knife. Ruffian, not enough to do it. Able to whip out a knife. 4 more plus frames. You can't whip a damn button right here. One good medium kick is whipped. That's a medium punch or an EX song to get the hit. John Takeuchi making it real ambiguous in what he wants to do with the neutral. Am I going to do medium kick, medium punch, or surprise EX Zonk?
I thought the surprise was going to be coming from the Yoga side, right? Mago was the one talking about surprising everybody. But that's not the case here. Again, does get the medium. Oh, okay, yeah, forward heavy punch to get the crush counter. A lot of damage on the board. No critical art spent. No bar spent, actually, from the side of Mago, which is a bit surprised because he could have at least had the stun going. But I get it. Scaling involved. He wasn't going to kill. He's still not spinning any bar, but he had. It was a target combo confirmed, so he didn't have an opportunity to.
Up in the corner, medium kick, harassing right back like that. Mago. And he works his way out of the corner because there's still a lot of knife left. Air to air right there. I like that jump back and position, and gets it. That medium punch, but nothing right after. He does have the bar at the bottom. Harassing with the medium kick. Could harass with the EX Zonk as well, but he will fall to this activation, and Mago able to go in this next round with all this bar to cook with. That means more damage and the harassment of EX Fireballs if need be too as well.
Throw. Now walking him down to the corner. Mago has a big opportunity here. He is fishing with low forwards, right? That's going to be the biggest opener that he can ask for. Target combo yet again, just that far-reaching. Normal is just enough to keep John Takeuchi in check. A bunch of medium kicks coming from the side of Mago, a lot of harassment, the big big throw bait. John Takeuchi now on fire, at least getting a ton of damage as well as this trigger activation. Mago could have had it, that was low forward into nothing though.
It's right there. Let it drop. Mago still may have another opportunity. John Takeuchi harassing him in the corner. Jumps in, flip out, counter hit situation. You're definitely dead. More than dead. Deader than dead. Mago getting the W for this first one.
Luke wins.
Yeah, it's been such a close call too for Mago. He did get a couple of confirms that could have led to sheer destruction, but either way, fortunate enough for him, he does get that jump in. He does get to cash out because he was holding to that bar since like the last round, right? He was holding on to that bar for like a minute and a half, I feel like, but luckily for him, he doesn't have to die with it. So we are going to see a character selection, or at least, you know, going back to character select screen to kind of reassess the situation. Yamato and Aru are intently looking at this matchup. These guys are in like full gamer position, right? They're like 15 degrees closer to the screen now because they are so in tune with this matchup, as they should be, because this is actually a super good match to behold, right? They're really lucky to see like how John Takeuchi is trying to dissect this matchup. For any Cody players in the chat, this is the time to like take notes. Like, how does John Takeuchi approach someone like Mago piloting Luke?
There's a reverse too as well of like how to pilot Luke against Cody, because like that medium kick had harassed him earlier, and now you see him use medium punch to like kind of fight back, but not at close range. It's like right outside the medium kick range, where he can harass with medium punch range comfortably and not letting himself get set up for the whip punishes, and also surviving against in the corner, where I feel like John Takeuchi has been kind of mauling people up in the corner. We saw that against Fudo at the CPT World Warrior event, where he would just put Fudo against the wall, make him fall, and just maul him, just continuously with the EX bar. But now we see Mago just staying solid, blocking it out and finding his moments. Here's John Takeuchi, round start with it, but right back, gets the Oki off the medium punch. Good party start.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that John Takeuchi has to face off against is the forward against normals from Luke. I think he's just slightly misplaced them. It's going to be huge now. Gets a ton of damage. More so the carry. I think it's important. He dropped the rest of the combo. That was very interesting. And another throw bait, finding success against Mago. Now he's getting to throw as much as he wants to, or at least try to. Does find success in one of them, throwing a bunch of knives at him. Pinned the tail on the MMA fighter. I gotta say, that was so smart from John Takeuchi, spacing the way he did and getting the counter poke.
That V-trigger definitely helps out the neutral, where you wouldn't be able to poke, you know, usually. The V-trigger comes to not only the plus frames, but to extend these whip punishes. I'm gonna try to open up the crouch medium kick. Medium into the EX, the heavy addition. Light ruffian for the Oki. Makes him hold that tick throw. In the corner, bro. The tech though from Mago, looking for the activation. Stopping from happening. V reversals, forced to spin the V bar to get some distance. Mago can still win without V trigger. I feel like, again, you don't need V trigger to win some of these matchups. You do enough damage if you get those hit confirms, but John Takeuchi may not let that happen. Harassing with that medium kick.
Talking about that medium kick as well. Has to utilize that V reversal. Although he's at the deficit, I think he's gonna have enough life to build himself another V trigger. Speaking of V triggers, oh, that could have been it. I think he just went straight for the final fight combo, so I get that. John Takeuchi just scoring the knockdown. And there we go. The knife is out. The extended range is gonna be so good against the standing medium punch or the forward heavy punch. The dash in after the whiff against John Takeuchi. Mago's in control now. That could have been huge. That back medium punch could have led to so much more.
The dash was the surprise. Needs to finish it off. Medium kick into the hit. Of course he gonna do it. Into the super. We spin the win out here. And that puts Mago on set point. Mago looking way more confident than we've seen him in the previous match. I like that his face just looks like he's more serious. He's more focused. He's more honed in to get the win. John Takeuchi just not able to deal with a lot of these confirms. And I like the range that he stands at overall. He's dealing with that medium kick from John Takeuchi over and over again, the medium punch. And the fireball too as well.
Yeah, a lot of the counter poke game has been in way of Mago utilizing standing medium kick, hovering outside of the range to go into medium punches as well for the target combo. Oh, that would have been huge. No punish from the side of John Takeuchi, but still now gets the counter poke, a big whip punish. Gets to apply another throw, maybe no, set it to block string. Yes, sir.
He's out of there. There's some space up this place, backing up, but the whip punish again. You can't do that button, and that is punishable, and that is John Takeuchi back on the board. The knife is the way to play the forbidden nooch. The scrolls dusts it off.
Yeah, I gotta say, in regards to the adaptation being made from John Takeuchi, we see him finally getting away from the susceptible ranges he was at. Like the susceptible buttons that he's been taking damage from have, majority of them have been medium punch target combo, right? That's been the party starter, as you mentioned earlier. Forward heavy punch also. No, he actually still is susceptible to it. By mistake. Mago now throwing him in places where John doesn't even expect him.
Looking super effective. That medium kick, he's still gonna be doing it. John Takeuchi doesn't want to take that button off the table, and I understand you want to set up for other buttons. Medium punch, crouch medium punch, but here we go. Mago getting that Oki going and flowing. That was so meaty. Target combo once again. Plus situation in the shimmy. That's a stimmy shimmy because that's done. And that's done. Mago on set point.
That was quite the blowout again, being very aggressive with that standing medium punch right off the bat. Mago looking to finish things off quickly, already being the aggressor. Again, weaving in and out of the ranges that John Takeuchi wants to play out. And he has to steal the neutral back using that EX Zonk knuckle. And now he is in full control against Mago. You can see the amount of confidence from John Takeuchi in the counter poke game. One more for stun, and that's going to be, as you would say, stun and done. It's more than enough damage incoming. Boom, 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 boom. Nice and easy. We got ourselves a match, ladies and gentlemen. Down to the final round.
That's what I love to see. Just a more implementation of the button. You see the light kick coming through from John Takeuchi at that right range. Not strange to see that button come out. And now the EX Zonk's comfortable swinging that bar for these EX moments, the bust out moments. But oh, here we go, confirm. Medium knuckle jump in again. Mago locking him down. Make it hard for John Takeuchi to anti-air. The stun is rising. The DP. Back medium punch for the plus frames. Counter hit wasn't able to get the stun. That would have been it. Don't let John Takeuchi activate. There it is though. Oki.
What is going to be more than enough? Oh, he tried the backdash? What was that?
Did that?
Activation plus frames?
Mago, you dirty, dirty man.
Oh, that's so tough. Oh, you can't thermal barrack past that.
Patient play here from Mago. He needs only one hit to do it. One, just a dab will do ya. One jab. The meek. One meek will do it. And the walk up throw though, worried about so many things. Mago with the confidence. All days Mago.
That is the perfect example of the mental stack for the W. I gotta say, like that was so well implemented from the side of Mago, forcing the mental stack against John Takeuchi, making him think about a plethora of things. Like when you're down to a single pixel of life, it's so hard to even consider any other options. Like, well, I can't assess all the risks all at once. I have to pretty much guess. And that was guess for game from Mago. Very well played down to the final round. That was actually quite the exhibition, I will say, between both players, doing a fine job with both their characters, piloting the different kind of risks and different assessments they needed to take, or they needed to make, I should say, in between rounds. That I need to watch again on my own time. I think I really enjoyed that matchup.
I think if you're a fan of either character, you definitely need to be watching that for different tips and things like that. They both implemented a lot of the matchup knowledge, the light kicks coming through, the deal with the medium punch within the medium, then you see the dash in situations, the jump-ins also from Mago. That's one thing I really want to highlight is the fact that the jumpers were coming hot and heavy. There weren't a lot of answers from John Takeuchi, but however, when you are getting a jump, and even if it's on block, he's in that right range where he's not dealing with that medium kick. He's not dealing with, the other buttons of the character. And just the confidence from Mago overall, like those hit confirms were coming through. That's the Mago that you typically want to see. The Mago that's hitting all these hit confirms, staying solid with it, and that's the kind of character that you have to have right there. Actually, it looks like there were 2 jumpers that did work and 2 that did not to the anti-airs. And Mago just, again, I got to go back to the fact that he just had that confidence, enough that confidence to put the mental stack on him like that, have enough of the resources. Mago can prime in his prime once again. This is what we like to see from Mago. I mean, as you pointed out, started off strong, had a slight divot with it, but still going to walk away with a positive amount of points and walk away with 10 points for his team. That's how we're starting off. Now, how vicious do you deal with Falk?
That's going to be the biggest problem. I feel like to come in regards to like the current roster, like we're looking at, we're just going to kind of break it down for everybody. Right? Looking at Kamofai, you have Itabashi Zangief, or I guess Itabashi with G, right? You have Nauman with Luke and or Cody. You have Uriel also with Rose. I want to say against Falk. This is going to be kind of like a cheating, kind of like a very like shallow answer. I think Luke is like the end-all be-all. I think Luke is going to be just fine going up against Falk, but that might not be the case. We're actually going to see Uriel come up to play with that Rose, and it's been about time. I've been wanting to see this cat play for quite some time now.
We haven't seen him play this entire Street Fighter League. We barely get to see him at tournaments and things like that. I definitely watch a lot of his CFNs because when it comes to Rose players, there's not many. There's not many to study in the first place. But we have Filipino Man, we have Aqua, and now we have Uriel, who used to be a Sakura player, but really is finding his stride with this character, really finds his way with this character. And when it comes to optimization, when it comes to damage, when it comes to decision making, I feel like he's at the top spot. I'd like to see how he operates in Street Fighter League because, again, a character that people really have to prepare for. They have to take time out of their busy day, practicing for Luke, practicing for other popular characters to say, if this guy does come through, I have to be prepared for him. And this is a matchup I'm not sure if I've even seen this patch. You know, we do have the Falk player of the Four Fills sitting in the EU, but there's not many Rose players. I don't really get to see Luffy typically fight that player, and usually when Luffy does fight him, it's Mika. They do happen to cross paths, which is not very often. So this is going to be a little bit of a first for me.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with you. I think, you know, Uriel has exercised a lot of Seth, Uriel, and Sakura in the past, but this is going to be his first time really fully committing to Rose play. And in regards to the matchup itself, Rose versus Falk, as much as I am like a friend of like Filipino Man as well as Fakito, both very effective Rose players, I rarely get to see Falks, right? Like I've only seen Falk from studying the Four Fills, and then now Nemo, who's been exercising this character a lot on his streams, and I mean a lot, right? A lot of his streams have been playing some Falk in ranked and in training mode with a lot of these setups. I've seen Moke. What's funny is like I've also seen Moke stream, and it's been still Rashid. So I actually didn't get to see a lot of the Falk practice in at least like the training mode side of things. So I'm also very curious as well to see how this matchup is gonna go, as I am not as familiar with it in regards to like, you know, on a worldwide basis. There's not a lot of players that that solicit this kind of matchup to happen.
And Uriel has prepared himself for the Falk matchup. Looks like he said that many people have helped him, so he'll do his best. I'm guessing that's HL Zabeth is one of the other Falk players that's in Japan. I think Migami is also a Falk player, but I've seen them also play Nakali too as well. So I'm wondering who else those other Falk players are. I'd definitely like to hear their names if there's more than just those two in Japan. But however, you know, he's found a way to practice and he's found a way to prepare. Let's talk a little bit. We already know that Uriel has not been participating until now. The ace has finally returned, but the side of Moke, he's 2-2 right now. He has lost to Inaba with Bison, this Rashid, and Sako to Manat in the first of two, but one with his Falk against Fujimura with it shocked the world, and then one against Nemo with his Rashid in the first of two as well. So he's 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah, I think that's all you could really ask for in regards to like the current matchup spread that he's gone through. I think the Rashid, again, very effective with that character. If he ever needs to go to Cammy, that could also be a factor. But the Falk, I think, is going to be just fine. Really excited to see if he could go excel above and beyond with his character in the later half of the season, because Falk is a character that is severely slept on and I think has had one of the best improvements this season. Same could be said with Rose, right? This is going to be another one of those matchups, like in regards to these two teams, like they are fighting for points, sure, but at the same time, it's like you see some really solid matchups and really solid lineups from both ends that are like a real treat for like fighting game fans in general, or Street Fighter 5 fans in general. This is a matchup again that is like a very big or a very very uncommon one.
Great thing about Street Fighter League, again, as you pointed out, get to see that diversity, you know what I'm saying? Like, people maybe thought we'd only see the top tier characters out here, but the way things work, it's not only about the character matchups, the player matchups too as well. Having that unfamiliarity might help you. We saw that previously with Kawano versus with Fudo and things like that. We've seen it previously with characters that haven't been around season after season. You know, maybe people have to dust off their knowledge. Let's see if there's enough knowledge on the side of Moke. Twitter rooting for the Rose. Let's see if the ace will really return today.
Yeah, and Uriel has been a legacy name for so long. He's been rocking it out in Street Fighter in general. And it's so entertaining to watch him play. Here we go. We're going to see how this Rose works out against Moke's Falk. Game 1.
Wow. Okay, willing to jump in and get that win. He has the space to cover with the fireball to make those jump ins ambiguous, but you don't have to worry about the DP. However, there's a crush up in the corner right now with punish on the side of Moke, and that just let that fierce whiff. Oh, EX follow up. Oh, that's rising.
And I love that. Yeah, the V-shift still gets caught. Uriel, a ton of stun on the board. It's not going to be enough, though, so punishment. And I love that. Look at the amount of damage. More so the carry in the setup. Soul punish still. Oh no, anti-air! And I get it. I totally get it. I mean, you could be in fear of maybe like a dive kick against Moke where he just drops straight down. But nice and steady. Uriel being pretty risk averse and catching on the way down instead. I like that.
But Uriel pop off a bit too as well. Pop off too early. Don't be in a hurry right now. Because Moke will come back and win the first round. Anti-air right there, finally. Checking the skies, lighting the fireball. And Moke off to a way better start we saw before. He charges that fireball. Hands are glowing.
Oh
those air shots.
My God.
Fierce activation from downtown.
Yeah, that was a big whiff punish too. And the side switch, I love that from Uriel. But it's going to be tough. I think, you know, still being at the deficit, I think Moke has a big chance to actually close it out. He has like the win condition. Now he definitely has the win condition. If he lands a solid combo, he gets critical art. Here we go.
Shots to the sky for the activation. Back throw. Again, they get a V reversal. I like that time with the V reversal, and I like that rebuttal from Uriel off the light, the pop off. The Galagunda get it done. Man, what an apare jab. The timing vicious.
That's actually so smart. Yeah, the counter poke too from that range was actually phenomenal from the side of Uriel, being able to utilize that critical art too. That was so crucial against Moke's play too. That could have gone either way. That easily could have gone either way. That was very, very smart decision making from Uriel.
でやはり画面端取られたっていう部分ではやっぱりちょっとおっていうところ
Like the decision making though from Moke, using that bar for instead of just super, like using the EX bar to have an approach, having it, you know, to make that aerial approach a little bit different with it, because you can't just reliably throw out the DP. You might get clipped with the fireball that starts to pressure the knockdown into the stomp, OTG, and things like that over and over again. The pressure. Moke is making it ambiguous in how he comes in on the air from the ground. Uriel's doing a fantastic job of just like peppering in the fireballs and things like that, the normals, and reading the defensive habits of Moke. Moke's going to switch things up a little bit. I wonder if Moke is going to switch up his character. Will he pull out the Rashid?
I don't even think he did that poorly with Falk, but I think it's a very reasonable thing to consider. I think, you know, Moke and his Rashid are defensive beasts. I think, especially with the way that Uriel's been playing, he seems to be playing on the back foot, right? I don't think he's going to be like the big aggressor. He's looking for the big counter poke. So if Rashid happens, yeah, I think we're going to see a big turning point for Moke in this matchup, just based off the aggression that he can play against Rose. So it's going to be interesting to see. He does a great job of navigating past like Soul Sparks. Does a pretty decent job of also being able to counter poke with crouching heavy punches just like that we saw. But we'll see right now. Uriel off to a fantastic start.
Also the fireball to pick up. Yeah, you definitely keep up a little bit more of that aggression, because on defense, you know, you're really only worried about like EX, Soul, Arrow, you know, things like that from Uriel. So if you can keep that pressure on, they'll have to be forced for V-shift and V-break, and that's less you have to worry about. There's a throw, eliminating that option off the table. Moke, this is where he loves to play. Up in the corner where Rashid gets nice and dirty. You know that there could be off the backboard mixes, but he's activates the V-shift. I love that. Knew the gap. Moke, what a decision.
I'm loving this right now. Moke, he's not going to overcommit here. Nice and easy. Yes, sir. Moke again finishing it out with standing medium kick. You see a little bit of antsiness coming from the side of Uriel, and I'm not talking about his character. Literally in the webcam, he is antsy. He is anxious.
For a heavy kick, trying to keep that same sort of pace, but it's hard against Rashid. Any of these whiffs lead to a knockdown, lead to Oki, lead to all that pressure you typically see from Rashid and that corner carry where you don't want to be. Fierce to the EX, pushing the corner on block, hold this, throw after that light, heavy kick, trying to get that crush. Crouch Fierce again, counter hit.
Oh my god. I'm actually super impressed with the way Uriel's been able to set up soul punishment more often than not. I feel like a lot of players kind of sniff that out and punish it accordingly. And I love that, yeah, tracking down everything that Moke is trying to do. Soul satellite. Force the block. Man, Uriel is forced at 50-50 like more often than not. Even like, so while in V-Trigger, also while having Soul Satellite, those two instances where Moke gets wrong cost him like, what, 20% or 25% of his life?
Seems like it. Like, he's so good about setting up success right after. Like, getting the knockdown, going for the Soul Satellite, going for the Soul Orb explosion right there too as well, for the meaties and things like that. Making sure that even Moke is uncomfortable on wake up, and he really doesn't have the EXTP to really worry about. It's so slow. But right now, here we go in the corner. V-reversal immediately. And he hasn't really needed to use V-trigger every single time, so I don't mind that V-reversal, because he is just fine with dealing with Moke in the neutral. Ace Fireball TK. Here for that V-trigger.
Oh, trying to be a little bit sneaky. After that crouch jab with landed with Moke again, keeping it stable. Spinning mixer, what's the guess here? Not too getting a punch into the tornado as well, but now Uriel has to force this scenario against Moke. Moke not pressing a single button. Frame trap after frame trap. Not going to be too bad of an exchange for Moke.
Oh, didn't get a punch with the DP, unfortunate. Bar spin for the corner carry once again. The V-bar on the side, Uriel, sweep off the feet. He's able to do that. It's just like, it's so hard to read when he wants to utilize some of these moves. But off the backboard, Moke in that right positioning to get that jump in and the win. Man, oh man, the Farm Village Carnival right here from Moke.
That was actually super smart to bait out the reaction from the side of Uriel, right? If you cover your bases, like if you throw out EX Fireball, you are going to be susceptible to the EX Soul Spiral from Rose because she is invulnerable to projectiles, right? So him following it up with the V-skill was super smart. Moke getting the big outplay against Uriel. Kind of, I think that's going to be like the big turning point. We talked about him going into Rashid as the big turning point, but I think that play alone might be more than enough to put Moke at the advantage against Uriel. We'll see how it plays out in this upcoming game. But I will say, if you're Uriel, yeah, you just see him stressing just a little bit. Do you opt to change V-triggers here? I think Moke's defense has shown more than enough effectiveness to like stop himself, or at least stop some of the frame traps from happening. I think if I'm gonna pick your brain on this one, Sincolo, for sure. But if I'm Uriel, I think V-trigger 1 would probably be optimal. No?
You know, I think there's some defensive things that you can do with that V-trigger. Being able to skip outside the corner, that's been a big pain point for him. So I would like to see him switch to that trigger just for defense. And I'd like to see that V-bar used more for defense too as well, because he's trying to keep up pace with Rashid, and that's hard without some sort of defense to knock things down. V-skill 2, V-trigger 2, let's see what it do. Off to a better start this round. Makes him hold that throw, keeps it meaty. Blocks it jumping, but not the button right after.
I do admire Uriel sticking to his guns with the 2 set. Moke doesn't get a trade-off. He actually had it. Stun no longer a factor for Uriel. Moke taking the throw, had to quick rise, has to hold the mix again. 2 throws now. Not too bad for a V-trigger. Soul Satellite installation. He now gets Street Fighter games on demand. Oh boy. Watch out now, jump short. Oh. Man, he is feeling it. He is rocking in his seat. Woo.
I love being able to watch them, you know, seeing them have their emotions, things like that. Like, that's so cool because you see him getting turned on EXTK and play goes to the low. Oh my God, Moke getting mixed a little bit off that low. And that aggression, the sweep of the V as a whip punish. Look at these active buttons right here, the activity that comes from this Rose player. But here we go to the corner, and the V bar all built up. Blocks the V reversal. Ooh, for the activation, no go. Right to the fireball.
Mix. There's one. Watch out for the other one. Oh, he tried to be sneaky. Oh, this is going to be a lot of damage. You might actually be dead. Can he build the bar up in time? No, he can't.
I think so. Oh. Reset.
You got hit by the
EXTP. He really bet the EXTP.
Oh my God. I can't believe you got hit by that. That wasn't reversal either. That was a delayed one. Oh.
And it being slow this season? Wow. Okay. What a bust out. Now taking that momentum right back like that. EX puts it right back against the wall. But like that walkout though, not getting caught up by the cross up. Uh-oh.
Oh my God, back-to-back throw baits he's toying with. Uriel is actually, he's trying to make it personal.
I took that personally. Throw. Deep bar at the bottom. That's the activation off the heavy kick for the plus frames. Hold another throw. There's bar at the bottom for the CA to seal it. He tried to burglarize him. EX fireball for the activation to round it back like that. But again, Moke just needs one good confirm, one good hit to seal it with the super. And he'll do so after the eagle spike. That's it.
You literally called it. That's going to be it. Moke, a huge smile on his face. We literally talked about this point. What happens if Moke switches up to Rashid against the character archetype like Rose? Well, he's going to be the one pretty much putting the pedal to the metal, right? He's going to be the one driving the boat, or at least, you know, taking control of the offense in the matchup, and we can see it, man. He's got it. He had the right idea. This is going to be a big benefactor for Gilgan going forward. Again, they have 20 points here. They have an opportunity to get themselves a big 40 game. Uriel, again, in his first game into the league, you could see how much it's stressing him out. But to be fair, man, that was a very, very solid game from both ends. I'm looking forward to seeing Uriel pretty much bounce back with this Rose. You can see how much it's affecting him right now.
He had the right ideas, the right reads, just wasn't able to put together at the very end. That EXTP had to have shaken him. EXTP that's so much slower this season. Not a real reversal. And even that time was very, very delayed. It's one of those things that you have to be able to, if you get hit with it, you have to say, I'm back in the game, it's A-okay, next game, next round, let's go. But Moke, though, back to how he was playing, I got to give a real big credit to how he dealt with the V-trigger. That had been a big pain point in terms of trying to tie up damage and things like that, but he was able to escape the V-trigger situation from Uriel, not letting the comeback factor happen, and was able to get that hit into super. And now we see a lot of jump ins not being denied from the Rose player. That's something that's you typically would see, but it is hard because there's so many opportunities to jump in. Jump heavy kick, EX dive kick, and the V-trigger off the backboard with that stocked up is going to make that even more deadly. In the corner, it's going to be even harder to deal with. You need to be preemptive with your jump jabs and things like that. And even at that range for the DP, doesn't always hit, so it's hard. Even though the amount says 38, it's a lot harder to anti a character like Rashid. But again, I like the fact that Moke went to this character, got the job done, 20 points on the board for his team. Let's see who goes up against Machabo.
This is a good possibility for Itazan to step up to the plate, right? I think G does a fantastic job against the Kali. I think there's going to be a lot to be said in regards to like the fireball game, or at least the distance game that they want to play out. But we'll see how this goes. I think let's take a look at the current roster, right? You either have Nauman or Nauman with Luke / Cody, or Inabashi with G. I want to say, like, I think G does a great job of outranging Nakali more often than not with the normals. So let's see. Oh, he's straight up putting Luke. He's putting Nauman Luke. Alright, well,
選手のルークです。
what do I know?
ではこちら対象戦に挑む両選手より一言ずつ意気
I
込
mean,
みを伺ってい
when
き
we
ま
talk
す。
about like the range of
ま
buttons,
ずは
I do think that G
アウェー
definitely
側
has
対象
those
戦に
with
挑
his
む
light
マチャボ
buffers,
選手
light kick,
意気込み
fierce and
よろ
things
しくお願いい
like
たしま
that.
す。
All those are great buttons against Nakali. But maybe the fear is that Nakali will get those easy knockdowns, so there's less chance of the presidentiality because of the faster V skill. And, you know, Naoman, just being such an aggressive player, won't be in the same spot all the time. He'll be using that medium punch. That button's perfectly fine for range.
ありがとうございます。頑張ってください。
And the amount of Oki that you get, the amount of continuous Oki and pressure that you get also as well.
選手
However,
こちらも意気込みをよろし
Naoman's
くお願いい
record,
たします。
not so great. He's 1-3 right now. He won against Sorimashi Sen. That was his first starting game. And then first to 2. Then lost to Akira Kami first to 2. Then lost to Garrett's Balrog with both his Luke and his Laura. And then lost to Crusher's Verdict with his Luke. That was the first time that Crusher had played and defeated a Luke player. So it's time for him to get some victories on the board, but I like that smile across his face means that I feel like he might be ready to get some on the board and kind of avenge his current loss streak. Machabo says his teammates have been doing well though, so he was having fun. He'd like to win this. Strong.
Yeah, with the amount of fun that Moke was having, I'd imagine that kind of attitude is absolutely infectious, right? So I don't know how much of a personality Machabo is. I know he's Mr. Optimal, but he also takes it pretty seriously. I would love to see a smile on his face as well. I mean, in his current record thus far, he hasn't seen a lot of games, which is very important to note, right? He's seen the light of day pretty much in the first week. He did get his game against Crusher. He did fail at the sudden death match, but other than that, I don't see a lot of Machabo. Very interesting decision making thus far from Gyogun, but as it stands right now, I think he's in a good position. I think right now to net himself a big W here against Naoman's Luke. I think Machabo is definitely one of those cats that have a different mind for what to look for in the lab. Right? He talks about Mr. Optimal. In fact, he put an entire like a full-on article in regards to like how to improve your gameplay. So like we have like a glimpse of how he breaks down some of these matches. So really curious to see how he's dissected the current way of the meta thus far, which is pretty much Luke. And on the other hand, Naoman being able to pilot his way to victory at EVO Japan that year with Sakura, no doubt in my mind he's able to do so with someone like Luke, but he has to get past Mr. Optimal himself. Here we go, final game or final match of the night, or morning, evening, wherever you may be.
Machabo starting off strong, getting the V skill and the confirm, pushing to the corner and back up, not letting the crouch beating kick hit. Heavy kick, but here's the target combo. The knockdown out of the corner, waits and baits, easy bait oven before Fears. Gonna be a lot of damage on the deck. I keep it meaty. Machabo blocking it out. But for how long? EX fireball. Look at that sequence right there. Forcing it back up. Goes to the corner, but Machabo does have bar. For V-Trigger will activate off that B skill.
A lot of damage incoming. Ooh. And I love that bust out. Watch out for the command grab. Okay, he's just going to go for the meaty instead and still utilizing that walk speed, the increased speed, to outpoke Naoman and just get outside of the comfortable ranges he likes to play at.
Or him will finish the dash up throw, enhanced by the V-Trigger.
Unbeknownst to Naoman, my man Machabo was willing to zoom in past his comfort zone. Big low forward opener for Naoman. Another low forward, spending 2 flash knuckles already. EX for that matter. No crosscut DP, instead got a sand blaster. Might have been an error. Oh, back-to-back errors now.
That's an error right there. Now back against the wall. A lot of bar on the side of Machabo to utilize. He's going to pressure with the EX off if need be. Nowhere to backdash. Machabo confidently walking up the tech though from Naoman. Oh, gets the counter hit jab. Back rise ain't gonna save you, dog. I'm gonna hit this into the super to seal it. And Naoman still in.
Oh. And what an expensive way to take back the round though. Super important. Again, these are best of 5s towards the final game. Or towards the final match, I should say. Standing heavy punch, back to back to back, I should say, from the side of Naoman, or Machabo, trying to find a big counter poke.
Oh. Heavy kick, gets the 4 fierce crush. That should be stunned. Yes, gets it done. Stocks up. This won't kill, but this will definitely hurt. Let's see what Nauman has in store. Oh, stocks up again. Need the pressure, but Machabo looking for that activation will definitely do so. It's gonna be a long hill to climb. The Collie, though strong as an honest character, this is honestly dead. Nauman keeping Machabo jailed with no bail at all. First one to him.
Super impressive too from Nauman. And I love the route that he took to get the frame kill with the V-Skill 1 to apply even more pressure. And more surprisingly, we didn't see a lot of big bust outs from Machabo. Right, he had exercised that option a little bit early on, and it actually led to a lot of the momentum to get him back into the game. But afterwards, Nauman had just pretty much run amok on offense. I was waiting for Machabo to possibly take a risk for the bust out, but right now, it's still going to be a couple more games away for a big victory from Nauman, which could lead to a sudden death scenario. But we'll see if Machabo can seal it out right here, right now.
Medium punch coming through again. The Oki back in the corner. Machabo already tilting the head. Does not want to be here. If anything is possible, light buffer into this guidance. But again, these reversal jabs from Nauman have not been read, have not been meaty enough right here. Machabo caught up in the corner once again, gets the activation. Means if you try to go for a bust out, it's gonna have to be EXTP. No V reversal to your name right now.
So tough. Yeah, Nauman's not giving Machabo any sort of ground. Look, he's literally just sitting there. Right? He's like, if you're going to swing, you better swing. Ooh, and speaking of swings, I love that from Nauman. Swinging for the fences with that heavy punch against Machabo. Looking really sturdy. This is actually going to be a tough decision for Yogun if they have to go into the sudden death match again. But I'm calling it early, man. Nauman is looking so dominant. Machabo has spent so much time in this corner already. Oh, that's, you know, it might be a little bit of a commentator's curse.
Oh, this would have been the worst, but here's the medium kick activation. He's out of there. Nauman doing the best in terms of just making sure the pressure is really great and finding his way out of the corner, but here we go. Scuffing up the shoots with a stomp. The DP has the bar at the bottom to make the comeback like that. You know Machabo will spin to win if he can get that hit to do it. Well, did not do so, but enhanced right here. And not in the corner. Can definitely fight back a little bit better. Jump in, actually gets a jump in for the win. Nauman with no anti-air. What a timing by Machabo. And we've seen him.
It was just so tough.
Years after years, we've seen him get these jump ins. He's so ambiguous when he wants to come through aerial.
Yeah, I mean, being able to change your trajectory with either the dive kick or at least shorten the height of your jumping with that fierce is so tough to call. But now Machabo is on a hot streak, a lot of damage coming his way, and is close to getting this critical art. He does so, but while taking damage at the same time. Nauman is going to deliver that critical art to his door. Fourth throw now, activation. You have to hold this entire string. Watch out for the stun coming up. Plus frames again. Activation from the side of Machabo. Yeah, and you know, Nauman is backing away just in case the command grab would have been the option. This is going to be huge, more than enough damage. I think this is going to kill. No, wait, is it up to 2 hits? No, he's dead.
The kill?
What am I talking about?
It
that
is
V-trigger Nakali.
Oh,
yeah, that is
right.
V-trigger critical.
Enhanced, powered up, and so is Machabo. Look at how comfortable he is. And I think when I start seeing Machabo jump, that's when I start seeing a more confident Machabo. We saw that last season. When he was playing Cammy, I felt like he was losing a lot more because he wasn't confident with the character, and therefore he wouldn't jump as much, not accessing one of the better parts of the character. Now, when it comes to Nakali, you can change your jump arc, maybe not as much as Cammy, but that is a good thing about the character. Jump, fierce, dive kick, things like that. In the ground game, looking better for Machabo. Confidently starting off this round 2 as well with this guidance. Brush. Get that beast kill.
Big interruption from Mago, or sorry, from Machabo with the standing jab. And I love that he had the V shift to get out of the stop pressure. So smart. Oh, love that check. EX uppercut to bust out from Machabo. That throws so many people off guard. And the V shift again against the stomp, but he's not going to get a full punish. Instead, he just gets the V shift break. And speaking of stomps, back in town, Machabo showing off those boots, scuffing off the shoes. This is exactly why Luke wears shoes now. You don't want to be caught getting stomped on with bare feet.
Boots were made for stepping. About to get the stepping outside that corner. The Fierce buffer doing its most. Or Fierce trying to find an interruption. That Fierce, I like that button. You're trying to interrupt the fireball before you can come out. The back throw, double dash in, gets the counter situation off the light. And the grip, the command grab. Down the ground, you grow. Another one. The Phenom, do it to him again. EX connects. Phenom somewhere crying. I know that he's somewhere smiling right now saying, yes, my son, you've done it right. Machabo.
I gotta say,
what a sequence.
That was, what's funny about that sequence is like I had a feeling. I called it. I'm like, yo, if you get one, you're bound to get another one, right? And then after the second one, it's like, you have to commit to it now. Like, if you get countered, so what? Like, at least you attempted it, and it worked out. That was actually, the things that led up to that event is what made it work the best. Like, that was so smart from Machabo. As wild as that is, it was genuinely a genius idea, to be honest.
I mean, he had pulled up the mental stack so much against Nauman caught in the corner. And then just on that pressure, you're so worried about so many things from that character. And once that starts, it's hard to stop. I don't want to say a grappler player, but someone's going to be able to really read what you want to do when they put you in the corner with a command grab. When you have a command grab with your character, that's one aspect you have to learn. Like, when I put you in the corner, I have to be able to have the strike throw even better. And the college predicated on that. That's kind of his corner pressure game plan. He's able to land 3 in a row with the EX as the ender. Machabo back looking way more comfortable in this match too as well. Button seemed really confident too as well. We see that Fierce that had been whip punished. He's not taking off the deck, and he is on set point.
We're going to see how this plays out. Machabo and Team Gilgun definitely need this big 40-point game. On the other side for Capcom Detonation, the most that they could potentially get is 25 here. Oh, off to a great start already. Now I'm fiending for those points. He sees it already with a big opener, already at 50%. Machabo is in a tough spot. EX flash knuckle again. Where did Nauman get all this meter from? What bank did he rob to get all this meter?
Wasn't the savings account, not the checkings account. So I had this piled up for a long while after being super aggressive, but the medium getting stuffed by the B skill and the activation. This is where Macho loves to party. We talked about Rashid with Nakali. Keeps you in the corner for damn near a while. And the H-bar also continue to stomp. Now I'm able to get some distance with it using that V-bar. Macho willing to put the pressure on him to put him right back in the corner. The dash up throw on a character that can challenge you. And that challenge right there comes off the light.
That had to be EX command grab for Machabo, right? That had to be, I mean, it wasn't EX uppercut, that's for sure. Man, Machabo is feeling it in regards to his movement. And he's making the right predictions against Nauman. Son. What? He's not going to spend it. And a perfect KO. Yeah. Machabo is looking for this big 40-point game. He's feeling it. He's called out Nauman 2 times in a row. I think, 3 sequences in a row. Any big confirm from either player is going to be what determines the W. And I'm calling it right now. Whoever gets the big clean hit is going to take the W. That's going to be it right here.
Real big lead. Here we go. Nauman with the start. Has him in the corner. Get that pressure, the challenge, the miss. Yo, Vicious, you might be right.
Hold on now. Hold the phones. Sugar 2 is on deck. Oh, this is huge. Oh, the big call out. No. And a big miss from Nauman. He actually missed the punish. Back throw now. I might be poorly mistaken. I might be eating my words, St. Cola. It's going to be an early breakfast over here on the West Coast.
Delicious and nutritious. There's bar at the bottom. And guess who's on the menu? It might be Nauman. V-ship. No break. He's pushing in the corner. There it is, Nauman. You were right. Fishes. He gets the hit with the super. That's a lot of damage. Won't kill. Oh, yes, it will. What am I saying? That's Luke. Should never doubted you.
That is Luke.
Should never doubted you.
Indeed, Luke. I mean, that's just the way that these two are playing, right? That's just how the nature goes. Like, these two are very much so aggressive beasts. very momentum-heavy beasts. I will say, like, Nauman kind of missing a couple of things. You could see, like, how nervous he is in regards to, like, losing or letting the momentum slip away from him. But, yeah, again, I think in the first round, there's still going to be enough confidence for Machabo to swing back despite Nauman getting the big opener. So this is going to be a very even matchup, at least here. I like that.
A lot of data this first of 3. Yeah, back off. Oh, with the dash in, you got me too as well, Machabo. Counter it, EXDP. Get some distance with it. And now Nauman love to activate. He'll do so off the medium, but doesn't convert anything. Want to save that bar as much as possible, I'm assuming. But the jumping will get the win. The Machabo special with a side of fries. No surprise, he is on set point.
I wonder what that was all about. He did get the conversion. He did get like a medium into trigger activation, but there was nothing that came out from Nauman. That was so strange. And Machabo now, this is going to be it right here. I think Nauman, he does get the target combo out, but Machabo being a little bit overzealous, pressing a couple of buttons on wake up. He has to back up and listen, think about it a little bit.
Definitely seen that also in the tail of the tapes earlier in this match, where Nauman wake up with the buttons and wasn't getting challenged, and now the button, the medium, is coming through. Charging knuckle. Light TP, of course, for the finisher. EXDP from Machabo. He's looking for the activation. Will get off the heavy kick. Just needs that one hit, and he'll do so. Oh, the corner carry. One more good hit.
For the jump in.
The DP.
Oh, that no whiff punish against the medium punch. Machabo's in control now. He opposite keep it close range. And he still gets baited. Oh no. He actually thought he was gonna get through the low medium kick. Nauman fighting to stay alive. Final round between these two.
At the brink. And again, as you would put it, whoever gets that momentum going to flow, it seems like they take the match. They ride that momentum. Both these type of players, both momentum-based players, but in different sort of ways. Machabo with these jump ins, but on the ground, on the land, Nauman rules. EXDP gets right outside the corner, but right again, the jab situation. Back to mid-screen. B-skill gets the knockdown, the throw. Machabo building up that pressure. But Nauman's not over. It's not done. He's got all that bar at the bottom spinning. Maybe equalize things too as well. And the V-trigger.
Oh. So close. Activation is going to be the great equalizer, right? Oh, wait a minute. Plus frames after that. The EX stomps for so much. EX stomps again. No stopping the dash now. Nauman is going to be interrupting now. Machabo. That's huge. Low forward. EX flash knuckle again. Back medium punch. Full sequence. No thermal barrack. That's a V reversal out. Machabo's in dire straits.
Medium. Oh, that could have been it.
Oh,
he's trying to take back the turn for Machabo.
Oh my
Machabo.
God, Machabo.
Ready and
being
steady.
able to call that. I can't believe it. I can't believe he made that read to block like that. That I saw his big opener to take his turn. I felt it. I was like, yo, he's gonna take his turn. He's gonna try to command grab, and Nauman. That was a risk that wasn't like unsolicited. I think that was a perfectly, perfectly reasonable risk to take. Oh my God.
マチャボ用の一発みたいな。ここまで意味合いが。
Ball game for
on the other side of things.
Damn.
A lot of points. That's a lot of points, and all because of an EXDP that was waited and baited, just leaving that gap in there like that, reading the tendencies of Nauman. When have we seen Nauman or most of these players do something like that, where they EXDP after losing their turn immediately? I'm shocked that he was even able to block that, because I know most people were not going to block that at all. But Machabo taking it for his team, 40 points on the board. Other team leaving with nothing, absolutely nothing.
Damn, that's tough to even say. Especially for Comic Fun Detonation, they were pretty much tied with Yoga. Now Yoga breaks the 100-point barrier and skyrockets themselves at least to, I think, 4th place, if I'm not mistaken. That is huge, especially if you're Yoga. But we see a theme going on here, right? In week number 5, in day number 2, an unprecedented 40 points back-to-back for the away team. That is super impressive.
Machabo is saying right now, listen, I don't know why I won. That's wild to me because it seemed like he had a very strong game plan. There's a little bit of jokes in there, but I'm sure like that little weight right there, maybe it was something that he was just hesitating a little bit or just blocking out willing to just be a little bit more defensive. And the EXDP happened to come from Nauman and he was able to punish, so I'm sure he was like, oh, thank you, God, like that happened in sequence. But overall, you know, despite the jokes, I'm sure now, like, I'm sure Machabo knows why he won. He said he contributed. He said he think he won as a team. Never imagined that he'd win or they would win 40 points. Glad to have contributed to the team. And it's good to see him play. Remember, we've only seen him play in that tiebreaker and only one match in the first episode. So to see him back in the driver's seat, the egg position, and able to get the win.
No, without a doubt. This is
ありがとうございますありがとうございます言われてみれば
I think he had mentioned a different name. Oh, I think he's probably thanking Inabashi for not stepping up to the plate. I might be wrong about that, but I want to hear that interaction later. But for the most part, yeah, even Gyogun is just kind of expecting themselves to like have like they want the win, they want the W, but they didn't expect it to be in ways of like 40-0. Right, so I'd imagine, like, especially with the way Machabo's been playing, or actually hasn't been able to play, right? He's been benched a good amount of the time thus far in week number 5. He's not technically a 100% win rate in regulation play. His sudden death match may not be successful. That's like a 1-to-1. So that's super tough. Like, not to take it away from him and not to also give him that extra credit, right? I think in regards to actually like a regular set, he's done flawlessly, right? That was a little shaky towards the end, but still, winning is winning no matter what. So, what did Mago actually got his translation in? He said he was pretty confident about this. He said he knew they would win this against Machabo, maybe with Nauman. There was going to be a good chance for him to win, so he's glad he put up Machabo there. He did also say we could have lost all games, but amazingly, you know, we won it all. This is a huge win for our team, and so glad that they actually utilized Machabo for that anchor match.
I'm super glad they did too as well. You'll be able to have Machabo in Inquisition that first free, get the victory. But also, just the team composition was super sick to see. We had the fault come through too as well, and the Rashid to flip back. That composition overall, having a strong stable of characters and strong players, was able to take the W. You know, overall, I think the team had really good composition. And Moke says it was a tough match. He's really nervous. He was glad to have won. And the Machabo, I love you, says Moke.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, thank you for that 40 ball.
He's like, Daisuke! Daisuke just sounds like, oh man, this guy's something else. That's so funny. Oh man. So yeah, now we get to hear from Mizuha's behalf. Very, very soft-spoken. I'd imagine he's got roommates, but he's also, you know, very grateful. I don't think there's going to be a big translation for that. There's no doubt in my mind he's extremely grateful for seeing his team perform the way they did and securing this W. He also mentioned on the side note, he thinks that their tactics worked very well. So again, he is thanking the team, and he's glad that it worked out. A couple of extra words coming in from Mago, but before we even get into that, man, that was such an explosive battle between the two teams.
Really great to see Machabo being comfortable. That's one of those matches where you get to watch a player be comfortable, like work up their way to being comfortable, work up their way to doing things that would make them comfortable, not only with the characters in terms of like what their characters' toolkits are, but also what they're comfortable doing. Like Machabo, he loves to jump. I'm not talking about just airlessly jumping everywhere, but having the right jump timings and reads on the other opponents and the players and things like that. And as well as the command grabs, being comfortable to grab somebody 3 times in a row means that you are definitely doing something right in terms of the reads and putting on a lot of the mental stack, and just how he was working the neutral, comfortable, stand fierce, just even though it could be whip punch with the medium punch, and sticking to his game plan and staying solid enough to not get hit with an EXDP after negative frames. That was fantastic for him to be defensive and to be offensive when need be. So Machabo, maybe not knowing why that had happened, but staying solid in general is just part of fighting games. Sometimes things like that happen, and you just, I don't want to say get lucky, but you're prepared to capitalize.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important part, man. Not a lot of people would be prepared for that kind of situation. They would think, you know, it's statistically their turn to play. That's where, you know, knowing frame data could really be used against you, right? But this kind of data is going to be a whole different story, right? We're taking a look at the current stats with the anti-airs, EX invincible DPs, as well as the successful techs against throws. Very, very low numbers on both ends, except for maybe like the uppercuts, the EX uppercuts from the side of Machabo. Very big risks taken, but also seeing a lot of success with it that have been the big tide turners, right? 80% from EX reversals is the big key here in this matchup, I'd imagine. We did get a full translation of what Mago was saying, right? As the away team, they did have the advantage, so this 40-point game means so much to them. They're hoping to win the next game, and he kind of questioned himself a little bit. He kind of stopped. He was like, would we even be able to? And then gave himself the reassurance. It was a hypothetical. He said, you know what, we will win the next game as well. So a lot of confidence coming into Gyogun. And kind of reminiscent of last year, right, Sincola? The way they played, they were a little bit on the underside in regards to like the rest of the teams. And they ended up being in the playoffs, right? So really rooting for both teams, obviously. But Gyogun's story, as it stands right now, is the more favorable story at the moment. 40 points. Camouflage detonation still stuck at 65. A big deficit. Big blow being taken points away from them like that. Same could be said from the other team as well. We looked at a big 40-0 game from Shinobiism Gaming against Hiroshima Team Ikuza. This is wild, Sincola. Like, 2 40-point games on the away side? Has that happened before? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, this shows you the power of not only having, like, you know, matchup knowledge and things like that, but just having like a really good strategy overall as a team, where I place my characters, where I put, you know, these players, things like that, how they operate in the neutral, how, you know, if you put Machabo, who's been in the backseat a little bit, keeping him warm, keeping him strong, probably keeping him training in the background, ready for the anchor position, and say, I'm going to put him here, having the Falk, and then if it doesn't work, switching up immediately and still being strong. Let's see what happened in this match. John Takeuchi tried to fight Mago, but this was Mago all dang day. This is a Mago with hit pros, with punishes, and confidence. We see him right there getting hit with the EX Zonk, of course, but not the turd with his corner pressure, where I think John Takeuchi has some of the best in the business when it comes to feature target pressure and just in general with the plus frames. Mago was able to fight his way out very continuously. Like, look at this, just being able to block it out, stay fine. Got the activation, and even though he was whiff punished with that medium kick, he didn't take it off the table. Never really eliminated all of his options off the table, bringing more of the other buttons and things like that with the medium punch. It went down to the wire, but however, Mago was able to take it over John Takeuchi.
Yeah, we see a lot of the counter play, the counter poking play from the side of John Takeuchi. But there's just something about Mago that is completely unpredictable, right? I think John Takeuchi had anticipated something else, just wasn't ready for the critical art, and of course, being within range. I think this is one of the matchups that hit John Takeuchi the hardest, but again, he lives to fight another day, right? This is a matchup that I was also looking forward to, or at least one of the players I've been looking forward to. I think Sincola is the same with you. Watching Uriel play for the first time, this is his debut into the league, or at least for this season. I gotta say, it was pretty close. It was pretty close from both ends. We see the big demolition that he showcased against Moke's Falk. And then, of course, what happened afterwards, right? We called this earlier, the switch over to Rashid.
One thing, you know, if your character's not working to switch over, but something to be so solid from Moke to immediately come back and play, especially someone that's been so aggressive with this Rose player. But overall, it is hard to keep up with this match. Rashid has so many ways to push you in the corner, so many better reversals. We also saw a very delayed EXDP, means that, you know, the Rose was just a little bit too overzealous, and the super right there, the victory from Moke to stay away and be defensive against that V-trigger play and not get got. And then we saw probably the premier match of the day, these two going at it in Machabo getting more and more comfortable as the match went on. Command grabs with punishes and mistakes on the side of Nauman to get the win. In scrabble situations, it felt like Machabo really had a bigger handle, and maybe some of that came from the fact that he's been playing this character for years upon years. Maybe some of that came from the fact that he felt comfortable getting these jump ins and there's more mental stack on the side for Nauman. Give it to him again. In the EX for the win, man, Machabo was just in his bag.
That was actually super impressive to watch too. That normally doesn't happen at this level of play. We haven't seen something like that in a very long time. But Machabo being able to keep Nauman guessing and holding, like as Yipes and Lee Chung would say, making love to down back. Like that was them and intimacy time with Nauman. I gotta say, like Nauman was not able to get himself out of that situation, and it's just the amount of intimidation Machabo presented.
Now I'm having some great moments. You see a lot of good hit confirms and things like that, even after the drops. So he really had that momentum. It was just a few decisions away. In fact, that one EXDP in play that could have been the tie turner. There's an alternate universe where Buddy did not hit that EXDP. He just walked back and maybe had a better decision, but that's Machabo going to take it. But however, who would have thought that he would have done so? To be honest, I'm surprised that Machabo, again, had blocked that out, was just real defensive with it, and took advantage of it and taking the win. Fantastic set overall, though. Great to see Machabo come back with that character and feel comfortable jumping and just working his game plan.
I think there was just like a lot of unpredictable moments in that set where you're like a normal person would just be like, why? Like, why 3 back-to-back grabs? Why EX uppercut? Why this? Why that? Why X, Y, Z? So, like, that's the craziest thing is, like, they were trying to get the better half of each other on a mental basis. So, it was so tough. I think it could have gone either way. And, you know, Nauman, again, it was one of those risks that I deem personally wasn't too unreasonable, right? So, it was a risk he was willing to take, and Machabo just happened to get pretty lucky in making the right call. Even he he's like, yo, like, I don't even know why I won that one, right? So, as it stands right now, 40-point ball game for both on the away side. Shinobiism Gaming walking away as the victors against Hiroshima Team Ikusa, as well as Jogun taking the victory over Kamufa Detonation, breaking the 100-point barrier, sitting nice and comfy up there with Shinobiism Gaming, respectively, at 3rd and 4th place, if I'm not mistaken.
It's hard to be comfy, though. Up at the Street Fighter League, I feel like this season has gotten even more solidified as we see in the top spot. Good 8 squad once again in the top position as they were last season, but Oja, Body Star, not far behind. Shinobiism Gaming in 3rd, and Gyogun, as you had said before. FAV Gaming in 5th, Saishun Console Kumamoto in 6th, Detonation 7th, and Team Itsuka still in last place, still in 8th place. They desperately need some points.
Yeah, again, there's just there's a couple of more weeks. I mean, not just a couple. Well, I could spin it this way. There is a couple more weeks until the halfway point, so we are going to see some of these runbacks happen more sooner than later. But we still have to go through all of it, right? I mean, it's only been week number 5, day number 2. We are going to be transitioning into week number 6 very, very soon. It's going to be on at least Friday. We can take a look at the graph and see how much of the positions have fluctuated, right? Sai, Shunkan, Sol, Kumamoto pretty much started at the very bottom and are starting to kind of like fluctuate little by little. But what's interesting is Hiroshima, right? Team Hiroshima actually started off right in the midway point, I think, just outside of 4th, or at least in 4th place, and have dropped to the very bottom. I think the biggest influx here, or at least the back and forth, have been Gyogun, right? So we'll see how that plays off. In the next time, it's going to be week number 6 with Shinobiism Gaming facing off against V6 plus FAV Gaming, as well as Saishunkan Sol Kumamoto versus Kamufa Detonation. This is going to be critical for 2, or actually 3 of these teams, right? V6, Saishunkan Sol, as well as Detonation. These teams they absolutely need the points.
They desperately need them. They're hungry for these points, but so are all the players, even the top positions. We are getting to the nitty-gritty, slowly but surely getting to this halfway points, and it's going to start having more and more gaps like that. I can't wait to see this great Street Fighter 5 action out here as we get closer and closer to the finality of not only this league, but also the World Championships as the US and EU are happening soon. Are actually starting, I'm sorry. They've already started. What am I saying? They've already had episodes. Make sure you all check those out as well. Keep track of the US, the EU, and Japan as we figure out who's going to be throwing those hands. But we're about to wrap it up. Thank you all for watching Street Fighter League Japan, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.